Hello, everybody. It is Trusty once again on the road. And tonight we are here with what should have been a duo dive with Katie from Vintage and Vinyl. So, hi, Katie.
Hi guys, I'm so glad to be here tonight. Welcome everyone in the chat.
Yeah, thanks so much for people for joining in because I was hosting this week because I have not done anything for the last couple of weeks. I'm like, oh no, I need to host this week. And I've been so busy and traveling so much that I basically did crap to try and promote this. So I cranked some stuff out today and was just really hoping people would remember or maybe get a notification when we went live. So hopefully some more people will join in. But thanks so much for the ones who are joining in. So we've already got Nate is in the chat tonight, and we got Fluffy Otter has joined us. Tim coming in from Canada.
Hi
Deb
Tim.
Sherman from Minneapolis. We've got Susan Way coming in from Mississippi.
Hi Susan.
Let's see. I think I said hi, Susan. Butterfly Nurse Thrift is coming. I think Butterfly Nurse, congratulations. I think I saw you just hit 1,000 followers on. Was it your Instagram or was it your YouTube? I saw a quick post that just said you hit 1,000. I couldn't remember.
I think it was on Instagram. I think.
All right. Well, congratulations. Kat also just hit a milestone. She hit 1,500. I think on YouTube.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So Kat did a giveaway for her 1,500. So congratulations to Calypso Kat for hitting your 1,500 subscribers. I think I said hi to Peterson, but if not, there just in case. Pulling out the who do we got tonight for Susan? Yeah. We got turtles and
I think
turtles and shrooms. And let's see what Brine out of Chicago. We've got cookies and otters. What the hell are those?
I think they're dinosaurs. The dinosaurs are eating the cookies.
All right.
Know what the symbolism of that is.
We got Sandy. It must be in here for Sandy's Lilac. I think I just saw Chad. LaDonna is joining the chat. So hi, LaDonna. Linda has come in. Chad got the Terp State represented with Chad. Jan Goodwin coming in. I Heart Old Things. We've got the far western territory. We got Hawaii represented. Of course, Nate coming in even farther west or east, depending on how you want to cover New Zealand. I think I said hi to Deb. We've got the West Coast hit covered with Berkeley Girl. I'm trying to think. I'm going to be showing. I literally just grabbed crap and put it in a bag. And I don't mean crap in a negative way. Just, everyone gave me very lovely things for the fundraiser. And I randomly grabbed stuff. And I'm trying to think. Berkeley Girl sent such nice stuff and had it packaged so nicely. I felt bad ripping into it. But I don't know if what I grabbed came from her. I might have stuff from you, Katie, the other Katie 2.0. So I will be showing some stuff that came from some people in the chat. We got Stud with a Stash is coming in here. Sam coming in from New England.
Hi, Sam. Hi, everybody.
Oh, we got Maria coming in from Empty Nesting too. She's got the Buckeye State covered.
Hi, Maria. I see Delbert's tuning in.
And I missed Delbert. Hey, Delbert. So we got another person for the Buckeye State represented. Kitschy Corner, that's Kara.
Kara is the Kitschy Corner. Sometimes I get Kara mixed up with Kathy from the Kitschy Cat because their names are similar, but I think I've gotten it down now.
I'm not sure I know the Kitschy Cat, so yep, that's going to confuse me now.
Sorry.
All right, so Sam is trying to play the emoji game. So he's got Wave, he's got Basil, his cat. He's got a new black cat.
And I love your cat, Sam. I've been following along on your.
Oh, and is that what that is showing? It's a cat and then a black square. So that is a black cat. I think the square should be before the cat.
I don't see a square.
Oh, I see. I've got a wavy sign, a cat, and then just a black square. So I don't know if it's an emoji that didn't carry through on my computer.
Yes, it didn't, because I just have a wavy face and then a wavy hand and a cat.
Oh, interesting.
The emoji things are weird, but
sometimes they don't care. But usually if they don't carry, I'll get like a little question mark or just something else. So, and then Nady got blowing kisses and ducks. Gotcha. What did you say? Emergency ducks?
Yeah, Nate, you not know about the emergency ducks?
I do not know about the emergency ducks.
So Nate always has a duck in his freezer in case he needs to do duck tacos. And I know
yes,
really likes the duck tacos. So he calls it his emergency duck. So that's something that we've started sending the name as emergency.
I've missed out on the emergency duck. I will have to say I've never had an emergency duck. Never had the need. I don't think I've ever even had duck in my refrigerator. I have had duck. I just do not. I don't think I've ever made it myself.
I do have emergency olives in my pantry. I talked about that. I love olives so much. I always have to have a backup can.
No, I don't think I've got anything that hangs out where I have to feel I have a backup. I have a system which admittedly worked better when I was still married and child at home, that I would always have one extra in the pantry. So then when you opened the one that was in the pantry, that was when it went on the list to buy another one. Well, I tried to do that living alone, and things just expired.
Yeah, it's hard to pass it up when you have things that you don't cook often,
Absolutely.
Especially when you don't have big crowds nowadays.
Oh, Jamie's got emergency pork ribs in the freezer. Ooh. Okay, I'm in the freezer. I've got a bunch of stuff, but it tends to be like things that are supposed to be in a freezer, like a pizza.
That's my freezer.
Yeah. Okay, Linda's just showing off. She's making curry pumpkin soup. I couldn't even make fudge.
That sounds good.
Okay, Jan says emergency tofu duck. Okay.
Interesting. I have to keep my flour in the freezer. Ever since I learned about that trick, that's the one odd thing in my freezer is flour.
Oh, I've missed. What's the flour trick? I don't think I heard this one.
So to keep bugs out of your flour, and that's a real problem here in Florida, is that, things just come in. If you roll up your bag and just put it in the freezer, it totally keeps bugs out, and it's great. And it makes the flour just easier to work with. It doesn't come out and go everywhere.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Carrie's a woman after my own heart. Emergency Chef Boyardee.
Yeah.
Amen, sister. That's what you need to have.
That's good stuff.
Okay. I just lost Fluffy Otter. 7 tins of kippers.
I don't know what kippers are.
Is a kipper a fish? Is that like a sardine? I think they're British.
Oh, if they're a British thing, I've been missing out.
Is Fluffy Otter? I'm sorry, Fluffy Otter. Are you British?
I love all things British.
I don't think you'd love kippers.
Yeah, if there's sardines, I don't know. I don't like raw sardines.
Got another Canuck in the house. We got Christina coming in, drifting up north. So Susan says she buys prime rib cheap, and then that goes in the freezer. Now I will say, growing up, we used to have either, depended on how financially sound my family was at the time, we would either buy a full cow or a half cow. We would split it with a relative. And so once a year, our freezer would get filled. We had one of those, like the separate freezer down in the basement, and it would be filled with the white, butcher paper wrapped with all the cuts of meat. And invariably, the years that we got the full, by the time you went to refill it, there was always these like random cuts of meat that even my family didn't want to eat. And so then it's like, okay, we got to do something with it. And like, we'd suddenly have to be cooking like the lesser cuts, just to make whatever. So that was just one of those weird things from my childhood that I remember.
My dad hunted growing up, and he still does. And so he always had deer meat in the freezer. That was just what we had. So we'd go up in the summer, and Dad would make venison stroganoff, and he'd make all kinds of really good stuff. I was kind of spoiled in that department with good fresh meat.
Poor Nate does not know what Chef Boyardee is.
Oh, Nate, you not have, I think they don't have as many convenience type items there as we do here.
Oh, now Peterson is saying that she meant capers.
Ooh, capers.
Capers are a thing. Capers, I've had capers. I get, there's a dish that I get at California Pizza Kitchen. It's chicken piccata, and it is capers.
Chicken piccata.
It's very good, but I think that whoever said it was kippers. Yeah, yeah. So Nate is saying kippers are smoked herring, which is what herring. And rice in the freezer to guard against boll weevils.
I've never heard of the rice one. That's new on me, but that probably would work.
Have you people heard of Tupperware? I mean, why do we have to go to such deep protections?
They still get in here, believe it or not.
Even into the Tupperware?
Yeah, wow. Growing up, we had that problem, and then I'll never forget. So my neighbor, who I met, my elderly neighbor, I actually ran out of flour one day, and I was getting ready to leave to visit my best friend in South Florida. I was baking cookies for them, and I just needed like a cup of flour. So I had just moved in, and I met my neighbor through asking her for flour, because she just seemed like the type of person that always had flour. I don't know why, but I just knocked on her door, and I was like,
you need to put a pin in that for a later discussion. What exactly makes someone look like they have flour?
Well, I mean, in other apartments I've lived, I found that a lot of people eat out, so they don't keep things like that in their pantry. Okay. So I just figured, being someone that, seemed like she cooked a lot or was home and had, all of the fixings in her kitchen, she would have flour. So I went next door and knocked on her door, and it was so nice of her to give me the flour. And then I realized that she had bug problem with her flour, and that's just a Florida thing. So I told her about the freezing, and we became fast friends. Anyway, that's a great story about the flour.
Wow, your neighbor that looks like they have flowers, but they also have bugs. So you never know. So Fluffy Otter is clarifying, just a touch of British, but yes. And I'm sorry, he or she, because I'm not actually sure. Kippers are a step up from sardines. Okay, so we're in the right family there. And so capers are something totally different. And this is just, again, these random ways that my head thinks, my brain thinks. I'm sure no one else will remember this, but there is an episode of Frasier, one of my favorite shows,
Frasier,
that Niles discovers the Costco, or it's after the divorce, after he separates from Maris, before he gets the money back. And he's like, oh, and he shows up with this ginormous thing of capers. And the only thing that Frasier uses them for is swordfish. And so he's like, so I have a lifetime supply for when we have swordfish. So that is my memory of capers. But I literally only have ever had them in that lemon sauce that's in the chicken piccata. I don't think I've had them in anything else. I don't have a problem with them. I just don't know what all they're served on.
I think you could put them in any type of lemon sauce or fish, but here we've got a wonderful place that has a well-known salad bar. I mean, it's above just a regular Ruby Tuesday salad bar, and they're known for their enormous capers, and they're probably, I kid you not, like that big. And so you can go, and I don't know what variety they are. I think they come from overseas, but they're massive, and they're so delicious.
So my question is, because I literally do not know the answer to this, I've never even remotely even thought about it, but as you're talking about somebody having enormous capers, what is a caper? Is it a seed?
I think it's part of the olive family.
Okay, so it's like a full-fledged, do they grow on trees?
Yeah, I think they're berries, so they grow on bushes, right? Bushes or trees.
Well, olives grow on trees.
That's true. Yeah, I know they're caper berries, but I don't know much more than that. And I love capers, so I should know more about one of my favorite foods.
Now, what I remember from capers, again, like my entire knowledge is basically getting them served to me at California Pizza Kitchen, but they're soft. Now, I don't know if they start soft or if that's what happens after you cook them.
I mean, after I've had them cooked, and I cook chicken piccata a lot, it's one of my favorite dishes to make, they become really kind of soft and they kind of open up a bit. But the ones that I've had from the salad bar, they're slightly harder than the ones that they had just been. But again, those are the larger kind, and I don't know what variety they are or exactly where I just know they're good.
Peterson is saying they're pine berries.
Oh, pine berries.
Which that I've never heard before. Deb is saying they're pickled something.
Oh.
Mid-century saying it's a sour, salty pea. Okay, that's actually consistency-wise a pea.
That's about right.
Jan is asking if they come in a pod. So we're all just making shit up. Like, none of us know.
I don't know either.
So Kara's saying it's an undeveloped olive. And somebody is probably right. And I'm just like scrolling by, like, let's look at all the random people say on the internet. Peterson's like, no clue, just guessing. Okay, Soul Nate, of course, Google to the rescue. It's on the internet. It must be true. Green, unripened flower buds of the caper bush.
Okay.
All right. Never even heard of a caper bush, but all right. So you're right. Grew on a bush. And then Jamie is agreeing that they're pickled. Tim also saying pickled flower buds. I wouldn't have guessed pickled, but like I guess because I
No, but
always
they
have it in
have
a
that
sauce.
kind of flavor.
Yeah, I guess because I've always had it in a sauce, it's probably covered up by that.
Yeah, if you eat them raw, they have a more of a tang to them.
All right, Susan's showing off. So she's a cook and a master gardener, so she knows all about her capers.
Susan, so you know.
So caper flower buds that are pickled. So
okay, very good, Susan. Yeah, they're in a Brine, Peterson.
So it looks like we've had a copy and paste job here by Sue Raspberry. Capers are the green, unripened flower buds of the caper bush, also known as Flinders rose. Oh, okay. I like that name better.
Okay, so now this is the debate. Are they actually a fruit or a vegetable or a carb? Like, what are they?
Because you say that it's the fruit of the caper bush, they will become a flower. So I think so. You're right. So it's a berry. So if it's a berry, then it must be a fruit.
Yep, I guess so.
Like I know what I'm talking about, but anyway.
But you know, with tomatoes, for the longest time growing up, I was always told that tomato is a vegetable. Eat your vegetables. Nope, they're fruits.
Well, and also depending on who asked Adam and Eve served Adam a tomato, not an apple. So there's all kinds of lovely versions of the story. And I can guarantee you there is no other vintage reselling pair on the internet right now who's talked so much about capers. So
yep, probably not.
You got your fill tonight. Jamie buys them at Trader Joe's. And we were talking about brining. So now we've got a little colloquial question or group question: who brines their turkey for Turkey Day? Well, I don't know what Stouffer's does to theirs. So whatever comes out of that little box, that's the turkey.
I brine mine, but as you all know, last year the delivery person accidentally delivered a 12-pound turkey to my door for just me. So I had to figure out how to defrost this enormous turkey. And I ended up getting, thanks to my dad, who's very handy and clever with cooking, he said, oh, just get a giant tub like you would store your stuff in the garage. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, yeah, just fill it up with water and put the turkey in. They'll be fine. Well, sure enough, it defrosted. Everything was great. Until after Thanksgiving was over, and I had to figure out how to leave or get rid of all of this giant bloody turkey water that was just sitting in my kitchen. And so I had to drag it out of my apartment, down the elevator, and dump it outside. And there were people staring at me like, what are you doing with this bloodbath of water on Thanksgiving Day? Did you get mad at your family and knock them off? Like, what the heck happened to you? And I'm like, it's just brining water.
All right, so Tim is introducing a new concept of dry brine.
Oh, that's good too.
Is that just a salt rub?
Mm-hmm, that you put in the refrigerator, and it soaks into the skin.
Okay.
My dad does both. He does a wet brine and a dry brine, and then does a fried turkey and an oven turkey. He's got a whole system.
Gotcha. Well, Jan is kindly reminding me of my failure of cooking when I tried to make the light opera fudge for my birthday. And I will say I have been traveling so much that dish is still sitting in my refrigerator and has developed a bit of a film across the top. No. It's got like an oily surface that has now formed on top of whatever it was that I made. It is now transforming itself in my refrigerator, and who knows what it'll be by the time I get back. But I decided not to throw it out because I didn't want to just have it sitting in the garbage. Like, it's just sugar, so it should be fine. But, we do get bugs in Illinois as well. And so I like the whole idea of putting something that was basically 98% sugar into my garbage can seemed like it was just going to be asking for trouble. So I did not eat any further. And I've debated having a redemption cooking, like where I try to make it again. But I just have a feeling I'm just going to get mad at it again. And so I'm like, I might try and cook something else, because so many people, in a very kind-hearted way, so many people made fun of me in the comments because I just didn't know what I was doing. Like, there were just comments like, why were you using an electric beater to make fudge? I'm like, it said beat. I didn't think that was an odd question at all. But evidently that is bizarre to people who make candy. They're like, you would never use. I'm like, well, and then somebody made fun of me for using a whisk. So it's like, why did you use a whisk? Like, okay, it was a very bad choice to whisk caramel. So, okay, I learned. But yeah, so I'm not sure I'm up for that, but I will do something again. We actually are setting up another challenge that Katie is trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. So where are you at now, Katie?
I'm very close. I can check with YouTube Studio to get your exact number here. I'm at 1,944.
Okay, so in order to help her get to that boost to 2,000, I have joined forces, and I think other people should join forces as well. If you have a YouTube channel, we can do all the same thing. We are going to all eat something disgusting in honor of Katie's Jello. She's putting herself through. Well, what are you going to do? Yep. Let me back up. What are you doing for your 2,000 subscriber celebration?
Well, when I hit 2,000, I'm eating another Jello recipe that was picked by you, the viewers, and it was number 4. I gave you 4 options, and of course, everyone picked the worst one, which was hard-boiled eggs, shrimp, and peas in a Jello mold. So yes, I will be eating that live for my 2,000 when I get there, eating that awful Jello.
You poor thing. So I've agreed to also eat something disgusting, but I'm not letting you freaks pick it. So I'm going to pick something bad, but I need to pick something that I'm not going to make me throw up on screen. Yeah. So, but we'll try. I don't know how we'll do it because this is Katie's thing. So whether I might just post a video, celebrating or whatever. But if anybody else wants to participate, we need to get Katie up to over 2,000. So if you're not following her now, go ahead and make sure you subscribe to Vintage and Vinyl because then again, this is supposed to be a duo dive. There's multiple reasons why this ended up not being a duo dive tonight. So we're really just kind of hanging out, but she will be hosting the next duo dive. So you want to make sure you're following her, and she will be hosting the next Tales from the Triptych on Sunday. So if you're not following her, you're going to miss all of these new things you're not.
I'm not hosting Tales.
You are not hosting. I'm sorry. You hosted the last one. Nate is hosting, and Nate is in the chat. So Nate is hosting the next, but we will be rotating, and Katie will also be doing another triptych eventually. So you want to follow Katie and you want to follow Nate. So that is what's going on with that. So we basically ended up just, hanging out. Who just said that? So Susan just said she subbed to you. So excellent.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that.
So there are a couple of things that we decided what to do. Oh, so we do have a question. If Nate wants to type it in the chat, or we can give a quick summary of it. There is a question of what is the next Tales from the Triptych, and it is being hosted by Nate. And I know that Katie and Nate were chatting earlier today while I was working. So Katie, why don't you go ahead and fill in what Nate's got planned?
Yeah, so we're very excited for the next Tales from the Triptych, and Nate will be doing his tale on shipwrecked porcelain, and we're having a little chat whether it's shipwrecked or shipwrecked porcelain. And according to Google, I think it's shipwrecked porcelain. But Nate, you can let us know what the final verdict is in the chat. So that will be fun coming up on Nate's channel. That's Soul Nate this coming Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And before that, come back to my channel for a little special fun. It will be a Halloween celebration with costumes and vintage Jeopardy. And Patrick's going to be on. I'll be on. Dee from Thrill of the Thrift will be joining us. Vinny will be joining us from Vintage Vinny. And Laura and Mary Beth from Fatbird Finds. So that will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on my channel before Tales from the Triptych. Just a fun little Halloween hangout.
So we've got all kinds of stuff happening. My travel schedule will be slowing up eventually. I only have one trip after this one scheduled that I travel anyway. I am a traveling salesman. That's my job during my day gig. But usually I can dictate a little bit more of how often I travel, where I travel, and etc. This is trade show season. And I've been in this industry for almost 20 years. So it's normal that this is happening. It's just not normal that my territory, it usually gets spread out a little bit more. There's 2 seasons. They're all at the same time. So that's why I've been on the road. The last 2 weeks, I couldn't even do videos because I was driving during the time I would have been doing videos and I wasn't home to ship. I think I saw My Flea Market Treasures in there. She wins the award of having the last item ship out from my sale like 3 weeks ago. I mean, I felt awful, but I was, trying to race to get things shipped out. I was shipping things before I invoiced them. I will just say there are still people who haven't paid me. So I'm really hoping that kind of that loop gets closed, but that's fine. But I was trying to do my best, and it got to be too much. So the next couple of sales will be a little bit smaller to allow me to get organized, and to get organized for the big sale on November 11th, which is the Dachshund fundraiser. So if you've never participated or never followed my channel before and haven't been kind of watching over the last several months, last year, so last November 2020, I hosted a fundraiser for the Just One More Dachshund Rescue organization, jomdr.org. And we raised $3,500 for them last year. And our goal this year is $5,000. So what we've been doing is we've been getting resellers are donating mystery boxes. So there'll be prizes that you can win for getting sets of 5 mystery boxes from multiple suppliers. We'll be doing live sale at this normal time, the normal time of my sale. I will also have things up on eBay. So all of this stuff needs to get photographed for eBay. All this stuff needs to get organized. I'm still trying to collect the trusty traveler boxes. I will just say I'm getting a little worried so if anybody's watching this, if you have or know the location of a trusty traveler, we need to hunt them down, because as of the time I left my home on Tuesday, we had only accounted for 7 out of the 21. So
more come back for you.
There are a lot missing. And the idea behind those was they were circulating. People would get them like geocaching. You'd get a box. You take something out of the box, you put something back in the box and pass it on to somebody else. I had hoped people that might be on Instagram would post and keep me up to date on where they were going. And that didn't really happen, which is fine. Not everyone has Instagram, but that means it's impossible for me to round them up. I literally don't know where they are. So I've got 7. I hope I get the rest, because everything that comes back will get sold as part of the fundraiser. So that is one of the things. And then for everyone who is, sorry, Maria, I'm hoping it's just, I said they needed to come back, quote unquote, in October. Well, it's still technically October, so we're not late, but I do need to organize this. And so I'm hoping they'll start coming. So Peterson's saying she has a box coming to her now, and then she'll move it on. Okay, so, and that's going to happen. And maybe I don't get all of them. I know one was already lost in the mail. And so, and I didn't bring them with me. I grabbed stuff when I was running out the door, but I did not grab those. One of them had a note, and it said that the post office lost it. And so I don't have the book that would have been included with everyone that donated, but the person that had sent it when it got lost recreated a box and just sent me stuff with a couple of her friends, and she listed who all participated. So I did at least get a box. So we have something from that. And I remember one of the items was a mask. I think there were a handful of things in there that was nice. It was Karen Dondelinger was the one who had to replace the box, but she listed 2 people that helped her do that. So anyway, so I'll try and highlight which boxes are still missing. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but it's just really if people can find them, and just motivate. Like some people said, oh my God, I totally forgot it was sitting on the kitchen chair and I forgot to ship it out. You know what it is, but if you don't ship them out to me, and I don't want them back in December, I don't want to hold it for the next 11 months until I do this again. And the other thing that is missing is the grand total. We're doing another, and this was evidently just a bad idea because no one's supporting it. But I have a grand total of like 6 recipes. Technically, I've got 2 more in addition to this. One is mine and one is Nate's. I just haven't put them in I haven't done the cards yet. So, but I have a box that is supposed to be filled with recipes from the vintage community. This is all I have. The vintage community is abandoning me. So if you would like to participate in this, this is just a little, it's kind of like a little, not really technically free, but find a 3x5 card, mail it to me. My address is in the about section of my channel. So just go to the about, you'll see my snail mail channel or my snail mail address. Just mail them to me. And what I hope to do is I need to have them by November 4th because I guess I don't technically have to have them by the 4th, but on the 4th is when it will go live for the eBay auction, because I will have the auction end on November 11th, which is the actual event of the fundraiser. So I'll list everybody who has given me a recipe by the 4th. It's hard to change the description after it goes live, but I can add a note or something. But I want people to get credit for what they've done. So what I've gotten so far is Peterson has been generous and given her most popular one is her mother's peanut butter popcorn.
That sounds delicious.
Provided recipes on Foley peanut brittle, special K bars, giant ginger cookies, coffee time scones, and then Helen Casey has provided a recipe for crab balls. And I guess this is the one for Nate. Nate gave me a recipe for something that was really long and it may not fit on this card. I have to staple two together. And I will be putting in a recipe of my pumpkin bread.
And we got a couple of questions. The Kitschy Corner is asking if you could do any recipe. And then Dawn is asking if you can email it to you.
Yes. I hesitate to say yes. But yes, if you can't send me something, email it to me. I will write out the card. I don't want to do that because I have enough shit to do. But I understand that particularly as we get closer, I will definitely accept people emailing them because I want the box to get filled. And I do have they're from, we all remember Current. I've got these little vintage recipe cards. So I can fill these out or maybe, press in some of my local friends to all write different. Or if you, even better, if you want to email me a recipe card that's already 3x5, I can print it on a cardstock and just cut it out.
That's easy to do.
That would be ideal, and hey, you know what, Dana? I had DoorDash for dinner. I literally was at the convention center. I'm at the convention center and I'm calculating, okay, I am stuck here until right before the show, but I need dinner. So I'm if I schedule DoorDash, maybe I can get back to the hotel in time to eat. It was a close call, but I did get dinner and it was DoorDash. So there's nothing wrong with that.
And I think I sent you 4 or 5 recipes, but you should be getting them any day now, which is good.
So I did go to the post office right before I left. It was the last thing because I needed to mail out my Flea Market Treasures box because I felt so guilty that hers had not shipped yet. And so it was the last thing I did. And the only thing in the box was a postcard from Crocker Farm about their next auction. No, I don't need to spend more money. You need to raise money for the Doxies. But the day before, and if you follow me on Instagram, I posted it. I think I pull it up. I had gone to the post office on Monday when I got back from my trip and started opening everything that I had received. And let's just say I got a lot. So that was what I received for donations from the Doxies. So Debbie from Chicago sent me 3 boxes. I felt so guilty because last year when I wasn't traveling, I actually went and picked them up because she's about an hour from me, but to save the postage. This year we couldn't coordinate that. So she ended up spending $30 on postage. And I felt so guilty. But she sent some great stuff. Let's see. Actually, I'll show a couple of things that she sent because I know I grabbed some of hers. Dana, I'll do that first because I actually have her up. So Dana from Grace 2010. Crap. I didn't mark who sent what. Okay, Dana. You sent me. Oh, you sent the jewelry. You sent beyond the jewelry, but I think that's what I grabbed from yours. So she sent me. This item is for the Doxie fundraiser, Doxie rescue sale. Hope it does well. 20-inch sterling silver chain stamped 925. Pendant is approximately 1.5 inch wide and 1 inch long. So Grace is the name of her dog.
So I love
Grace
that.
2010H. So people that don't follow in the chat, we say hi to Dana, and her YouTube channel is Grace 2010. So Grace was the name of her dog. And I apologize, Grace, Dana. I don't remember if Grace is present tense or past tense, but I'm assuming that is a representation of your dog. But she sent multiple items. She had purchased a pair of Doxie figurines from my brain is going from Vintage Peep Show. Margot from Vintage Peep Show. She sent me 2 figurines that Dana had purchased in one of her live sales. I can't remember the brand, but they were like a Thanksgiving themed pair. And then there was another item and I didn't grab those. I didn't grab the other one, but she did send me this. Let's see if I can hold it up against something, you'll be able to see it.
Oh,
a little Doxie pendant. So she says that the chain is marked 925. I don't know if the pendant is marked.
That is so cute.
And I didn't bring my loop, so I'll have to look. But the chain is sterling. So that was just adorable. So that is from Dana, from Grace 2010H. So that will be, and that one, I haven't decided. Some of these, and I'm open to suggestions. Some of these items will end up going just as part of the regular live sale, where I will not be doing offer ups because I don't do offer ups on my channel. But I do have, I will be having auctions on my eBay store. So some of these things need to go into the store. So I think that is it of what I grabbed. Dana, I know you sent more, but what I grabbed, I think I saw Melody in the chat.
Yes, and Debbie from Chicago Lady just popped in too.
Oh, excellent. So I've got a bunch of stuff from Debbie. So this was one of the items that Melody sent. So this is
darling.
The Dachshund corn holders.
I love that.
The front end and the back end coming out of the corn, out of the length of corn. So I thought those are cool. Those are from Melody and Halem.
It's hard to keep track of all of this, but you're doing it.
Yeah, so I'm looking at all these things, and I Debbie from Chicago she said 3 boxes. So I know a lot of these are this is from Melody. I knew I grabbed something else from Melody. Melody, she knows her audience, me. She said coasters.
Oh, always coasters.
So she actually said multiple types of coasters. I have multiple coasters from multiple people. So these they're either a ceramic or they're a stone. I'm not 100% sure, but then it's wrapped in the raffia. So it's kind of got like almost like to me, it's like almost like an African look. And it's a full set of 4. These will get sold as part of the live sale, because as much as I love coasters, I don't think those will do as well on an offer up in eBay. So I won't do that. So those were the 2 things that I brought from Melody. But so this was the one. These will be probably going into eBay.
Oh, that's a great.
So we'll start. I don't want to drop anything. So we're going to start out. So this is from Debbie from Chicago. So it's a pair of Stangl gold, the all over gold decoration from Stangl of candle holders. So this is
quality
Granada gold. So this is coming out of Trenton, New Jersey. One time I thought Jeffrey from Real Nifty Vintage is from Trenton, Illinois. And the first time I came across Stangl, I could only read the Trenton. I couldn't read the state. And I was like, oh, Jeffrey, it's from you. And he made fun of me. So this is Trenton, New Jersey. So this is, you can kind of see the way this all over gold design. So I'm assuming Granada must be the pattern.
I would think so.
I'm not super familiar with Stangl, that I'm not sure if Granada is the style of the shape or if that's the technique of the gold, because it's a little bit different. So anyways, we've got the pair of candlesticks, but the reason these are going into the eBay store, and also it still has the Stengel foil sticker on there.
Oh, that's really nice.
And then a pair of the lucite, the acrylic candlesticks with the gold flecks.
Are those gold or kind of coppery gold, Patrick?
Well, my room appears to be pitch black, so hold on, let me check. Well, they could be copper. Let's see. There's this tag on the bottom. Decorative only, do not ignite.
Yeah, definitely don't like these.
Gregorian Incorporated.
It's coming across copper on screen, but I think either way, gold or copper, they're just beautiful.
I would say, yeah, you're right. They're probably a little bit darker than the gold, but they accent it beautifully.
Yeah, they do, because the texture that's done on that, the gold Stengel pieces have that beautiful kind of color to match the copper, and the wicks are in really good condition.
Yes. Yeah. So those will be going into my eBay store. So I need to photograph those. Those are some beautiful pieces. I got more jewelry.
People are spoiling the Doxies, and that is good to see.
Yes. I got some more jewelry. This one, oh God, I need to take better notes. This one is from Debbie. Yes, I think this is from Debbie. Although Dana, if these are yours, please let me know. But I think these are Debbie's. I have more notes back home of what came. Debbie was great. She actually made me a list of everything she shipped because it was across 3 different boxes. So it was nice because I could make sure everything was accounted for. But they are not identical. I'm trying to hold them. They're not identical, but they're extremely similar. These Starburst, they're brooches.
Ooh, bring back the brooch.
I thought they were earrings because I thought they were identical. And then I realized, oh, they're not identical. And they are actually brooches.
And Debbie's saying they're from her, so that's perfect. Okay.
And I want to make sure everyone gets credit for everything. And I just really appreciate, and I'm suddenly very concerned about the stuff in storage that I'm going to forget who gave me. I have notes of everyone that gave, but I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up of who gave what. But these are absolutely gorgeous. They're probably, I didn't bring my tape measure, probably maybe 1.5 inches across. They're not huge.
But it's a nice size for a lapel when you
need something. And they're
a little bit of a statement.
And they're in fantastic condition. There as like no dead stones. All the stones are present and accounted for. They're absolutely beautiful.
I love those Starbursts. I'm just a fan of Starburst brooches.
So this is a question. If you could help monitor the chat in these and some of the ones that I'm asking, and this is for you too, Katie. I'm going to sell them separately because I don't think, they're similar, but they're not identical. So I'll probably sell them separately. So one, do you agree, disagree? And then should these just be sold at a flat price, or should these go into eBay as a auction?
I think as a flat price is really nice. And I do agree with all the comments in the chat. I would say they're scatter pins. So you could wear them, together. So you could have one up high and one down low, even though they're different.
Should I sell them together then, or would I be better to sell them separately?
So if I were you, I would sell them together as a little pair of scatter pins and then do a flat price.
All right.
But I see other people saying separately.
Yeah, tell them they were coming in separately because I could see, and then Sue says flat together. So flat price, I'm totally fine with. I just feel that, it's particularly with the scatter pin, they're so similar. I would think that you'd want to mix it with some others.
You could do that too.
That it'd be fun. Like if you bought one, you could add it to the other. But a lot of people are saying together. I'm going to forget everything you guys said. But I'm going to ask anyway. This one, this is how bad my memory is. I'm pretty sure this is from me. I found this.
I think it is, Patrick. I remember this from.
I couldn't remember if I'd ever shown this before, but so this was sitting in a box and I didn't remember ever showing it. So the gold, I think that's golden retriever.
Yeah, I would say golden retriever.
So that will be a flat price. It is signed, but I don't think there's anything special about this one. I just think it'll probably go either into a mixed lot with other golden stuff, sold by itself. And then this came from, it was purchased by Book Bewitched. I think I saw her in the chat earlier. And it came from, she bought it from somebody else. I receive all these weird boxes. I'm like, I don't remember buying from you. This came from Lucid Curios. Another brooch is stuck to the cotton. Hold on.
Lots of people are agreeing with together. There's a few people saying separate. And Sue's saying separate, but I could bid twice.
So this is the brooch that Book Bewitched donated.
Ooh, I like him. He's got a really rhinestone collar.
Yeah, I said the green on the collar is just such a cool pop, and then the dark in for the eye. And now this one is what I wanted to show. I want to make sure I showed this because this one has that C clasp, but it's not the old C clasp that I'm used to seeing. So what would you date that type of a clasp, Katie?
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's as old as those older C clasps because they are still making C clasps today because they're a little bit less expensive to manufacture. But this is obviously a very solid, well-made piece. So I mean, if I were guessing to its age, and I'm not an expert here, but I would say probably 60s or 70s maybe for him.
So Sue is saying she's got that with a red collar. So Sue, I'd be curious if you knew where yours came from. Dana's guessing more 80s.
The metal, he does have a kind of a vintage-esque metal, and I do tend, it's not 100% a great method of dating, but I do tend to find those to be a little bit later with that kind of like textured, vintagey looking metal.
And then I don't know that the way the spring is done, you can see how far out that the wrap of the spring sticks. So I didn't know if that was a telltale.
I don't know. I need to do some research on that. Dating some of these pieces are just hard. But I did learn something interesting the other day about brooches, and I never considered this. I think it was you, Dana, that was talking about this, that some brooches aren't marked, but they were actually part of a set, and the earrings would be marked, but not the brooch, or the brooch would be marked and not the earrings. So sometimes they actually are made by a really great manufacturer. So that's kind of cool. I'm really interested to delve more into that.
Interesting. That's interesting because you would think that they would anticipate that they would end up getting split up.
You would think that,
So let's see. This is one of my favorite items.
Okay. Sue is saying that hers is late 90s, but the clasp is different. It's a locking clasp.
Okay. And I would say from the back, I think it's later. I would think, like, not that I know the difference between 80s or 90s, but I would think 80s, 90s versus 50s, 60s, because it does have, like you said, that the way that metal was done, it's replicating the look of something from the 50s, 60s with the rhinestones.
Yeah.
Somebody just had a question. Yes, Cheryl Ross asked, can you send any breed of dog item? Absolutely. And it doesn't have to be a dog. So I have all kinds of stuff that's coming in. I will say if it's not dog related, I'd like it to stay vintage, just so there's some theme like to that. But the dog stuff, I've got contemporary dog stuff. I have a Scotty dog ice cube maker.
Oh, how fun.
Ice cube mold. I don't know how you can see it very well through the plastic because it's new old stock. I don't know how old it is. I mean, it's got a barcode on the back. I think it's made in China. It's probably within 10, 20 years old. So, but the plastic, you can see there's some age to the plastic.
And you can do frozen dog treats in that too. You can use it for yourselves, but if you get canned pumpkin and freeze it, dogs love it. At least Louie does. She goes bananas for it.
Excellent. So so this one, I picked up because it was new old stock, even though it's not particularly old. I just thought, you know what? Like if you're a Scotty lover or even just a dog lover, this is just cool to have little dog shaped ice cubes. So if it's dog related, it doesn't have to be vintage. If it's not dog related, I do prefer it to be vintage, like these. So these came from Debbie from Chicago as well. And these are going to go up onto eBay as an auction because these are freaking gorgeous.
Oh, they are.
You've got the Starburst design, probably from the 60s, with the stamp West Germany. So, by definition, they have to be 80s or earlier. But based on that design, you're talking 60s. And the pastel colors in this are so pretty. So
I love the line.
The yellow, you've got that black line going behind them. Each of them is rimmed in gold. They are in fantastic condition. And not only is it a full set, 1, 2, 3, 4 of 6, you can't claim they're new old stock, but you still have the daisy felt that separated them. And yes, I'm sorry, Delbert, they are coasters. So you've got the felt that actually separated all of them. And then she added bubble wrap just because they were being shipped. But the fact that those felt liners are still there, there's actually value to those because those are from the 60s as well. So this entire set, sans the bubble wrap, I'm going to list those because I think because of the atomic starburst and the different colors, I think that'll attract a broader audience. So this was one of my favorite things that Debbie sent. So again, thank you so much, Debbie, for those. This was from me.
Oh, look at that little guy.
I saw one of these when I was with Dawn, and Dawn is in the chat now. So Dawn Schonkweiler, she is the head of the Just One More Dachshund Rescue. So it's all her fault. That we were at an auction and they had an entire flat of these salt and pepper shakers because that's what he is. He's a salt and pepper shaker.
That's a lot of salt.
The salt comes out of his head and the pepper comes out of his butt. And so you've got the P to show that the pepper comes out. Did it actually have a salt? Oh, it does. On the very back of his head. So you got the S for the salt with the 2 holes, and then you still have the original corks. That
is awesome.
So he's in great condition. There's no markings left on him. He's red wear, so you can see on the bottom. I would say he was a Japan piece. I think that used to be a price tag. I don't think that was actually a paper label. I looked, and I'm looking here, but my hotel room is so dark. I'm not having any better luck. Like I said, the gold was almost too hard to see there. I don't think it's been signed anywhere as a Japan. Like sometimes there's just a stamp. I don't see it, but it doesn't matter. He's so cute. He'll probably just be a flat sale price because he's not that rare, but it's the first one I've ever come across. And I thought he was adorable.
I love his little yellow eyes. And
I know, isn't it? He's just so cute. And even if you don't use him for a salt and pepper shaker, it's just fun. Oh, did Daniel hit 1,000 too? Well, congratulations, Daniel.
Yes, Daniel just hit 1,000.
Actually, I didn't know Daniel was in the chat. So hi, Daniel, and then congratulations to you as well. So yes, so that was actually from me.
These are saying she needs that, so she might be able to get that.
Yeah, Dawn is spending, but we will be very clear. Dawn is spending her own money on these items. This is not coming out of the charity's money. Because she already picked up. I don't know if the Berkeley girl is still here. Dawn has already, Katie 2.0 has donated I showed it in one of my videos, a fairly large, like 11 by 14 paint by numbers, completed paint by numbers, which was a little girl holding a dachshund. Dawn has already claimed that as a result of the sale, or as a result of the video. Anything I show in the videos, including everything I'm showing tonight, unless I'm saying it's going to go into an auction, if you're interested in any of this stuff, just let me know and we can make a deal because I really don't want to have to ship all of this in the same day. This is from me. These I think I probably showed once before. I had a whole box of these cake toppers. And so
back with the capers again.
Yeah, there we go. We got a different type of caper now. So these were the 2 dog related cake toppers. So I pulled those out of the box and I'm donating those to the sale. I did get some ephemera from, pretty sure this was from Debbie. How much is that doggy in the window? This one was a golden record 45. this was a 33. And it's literally a golden record. So you've got this adorable label. Katie's not even watching because I'm holding it properly.
Yes, you are. You're doing a great job.
Got a great little, and then 3 little puppies on one side, and then how much is that doggy in the window is the other side.
I was going to ask, is that the Patty Page version?
Ann Lloyd, Michael Stewart, the Sandpipers, Mitchell Miller, and the Orchestra.
The Sandpipers are great. I absolutely love them. And that's a great compilation version of that with some stellar artists, folks.
So once again, when I sell these, because I don't have a turntable, I'm selling them for the art, which that is just adorable in and of itself. But the fact that the record is yellow, that's kind of cool too. It did have a copyright on it, 1953. So we got the 1950s. Cool. So that was in her box. And then she also had some other ephemera, some postcards. I thought you'd like to hear from me. This one I thought was interesting because it has a copyright on it. Or no, it didn't have a copyright, but it has a single-digit zip code. So this was from between 1948 and 1963. But it's the dogs playing poker.
Oh.
And I didn't know how old that art was. So I guess it's before 1963. Somebody came up with it. So I remember it like on the velvet paintings in the 80s. So I don't know when it actually was originated.
It's been reproduced quite a bit on different images, but I still think it's a great little image.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got a collie, St. Bernard, a bulldog. I don't know what some of the other ones are. Is that the back head of Louis? I
think, it could be a pug because it's got little velvety ears.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see. Is its tail? Ooh, its tail is kind of curling around the chair there. Maybe that could be a little Louis.
There you go. So we got a little Louis postcard. There's a sucker born every minute. The dog drinking from the baby bottle. That one is actually a canceled one. So that's from 1910. So that's got some nice age to it. And then this one I thought was a little dirty. I could be had with a little coaxing.
That's a little bit okay.
I was troubled by this one.
Well, all right.
So
it's kind of like the Valentine's Day cards I got from Fatbird Finds, and I think I showed them many times last year. But there was one that said sugar and spice and everything nice, and then it says you taste so sweet. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then it was signed by Grandma and Grandpa. That was hilarious to me.
Funny. So this one does not appear to have any identifying what the trademark or copyright would be. It just says copyright Metrocraft in Massachusetts, Everett, Massachusetts. But I would say by the art, I'm thinking 50s.
Yeah, I would think 50s. I mean, look at the way the little bow in her hair is and the little dog.
Yeah.
With those big puppy dog eyes. Yeah, I think 50s.
So,
and we've got a question from Auntie Kay. She's asking if you can still mail items in.
Yes. I would say at this point, if you send them priority mail, it shouldn't be a problem. If you, because they just made an announcement that first class mail is going to be a little slow. So that's what I'm concerned about with the recipe cards. I want hopefully people are sending them in because it's going to take a while for me to get them. But I will include everything that I get up until the 11th. You just may not get as much promotion, or it may not go into the eBay store. But if I have to stretch this out, I'm not going to have a 7-hour long sale. So if I have to stretch it into additional weeks, I will stretch it into additional weeks. But that's not my goal, because this is taking place my normal sale. So I'm not making any, and I don't make any money off of this. And I've also, because of my travel, I've had to skip a couple weeks of my sale. So at some point I need to make money for myself. So those I brought.
Those are some great items for the dogs. Oh, it's so good to see everything coming together.
So I think, I think everything.
Dana,
I think that's all this
for your question. Dana
sure.
said she had a question, and she said, look above. Oh, she said, Patrick, would you be willing to put everything in the live sale, even the items you feel will bring more money on eBay? Do offer ups and start them at the minimum price you feel they should bring.
No.
I don't think you'll do that, Patrick.
No, sorry. Not doing offer ups on my sale or on my channel. So that's what eBay's for. And what I will do is what I've been doing for the last up until I stopped doing them. When I do have an eBay item, and I will be posting some stuff tomorrow that will end next week, those I will talk about them during the sale and promote them during the sale. But then if you want to do the actual offer up and you actually want to compete for the item, you'll end up doing that over on eBay, not while everyone else is watching. So yep. I will definitely promote the items that are going to be up for sale, but I won't include them. And that doesn't solve my problem anyway, because I didn't do that last year. All of this stuff went into my live sale, and the sale ran really, really long, and it was too much. So I will try and pull some stuff that probably depends on how organized I get, because I'm still at the conference tomorrow. I hope to be able to list a couple things tomorrow night, even for the Doxies, that will then end on the 4th. And then list some more things on the 4th that'll end on the 11th. So I've already sold some items. If people watched my video, probably it was like at least 2 months ago, I showed a big game board. It was kind of like a marble board that was like a fiber board, and it had a big dog in the middle and had dogs in the corners. I ended up selling that for $50. And so that sold. And then 3 weeks ago, I had 2 books that I had from for the Doxies. Those I sold in one of my live sales. And I think between the 2 of them, they brought like 30 or $35. I got it written somewhere. So I'm already collecting money, so I'm trying to spread it out, simply because I'm already taking the day off work of my full-time job the day after the sale, because I have to try and get through all of this. So anyway, that's one of the things. So I do actually have I'd like to go to those. So some of the items I'm probably going to try and list by tomorrow night are, most of these I would have already shown. I could be mistaken, so I apologize if I'm missing. This is one that's probably going to get listed for tomorrow night. I brought this because it was easy to grab and it's easy to pack. But it is a 1930s card tablecloth. So it's a square tablecloth with the ribbons around the corners. So you would slide this up underneath the legs of your card table, and you would have your bridge table with a little trio of Scotty dogs off at each corner. It's kind of like a linen, almost like a burlappy, but it's softer than burlap. But you can see there's its darkness to it. I do not know if this was machine made or made by hand. It has a little bit of a flaw where the binding has separated. And based on the way the binding was done, I want to say this was done by hand. But
it does appear to be.
Yeah, but I don't know that for sure.
It looks like a bunch of little follows.
Absolutely. That's why I think it's from the 30s, that would have been, there are Falas, there are Scotties, and that's when he was popular. And that's when you would have been decorating with him, because Scotties were the rage. And just based on its general condition and the condition of the coloring, I think this is a 30s piece, not a 90s piece.
And you're going to be putting that up on your eBay channel, Patrick?
This is going to go up for an eBay auction, because this, I think, can bring some good bucks.
And the link to Patrick's eBay is down in the description box.
Yeah, so it's not up now, but what I will do is I schedule everything to go live during my live sale. So I will schedule this to go live tomorrow night in the middle of my live sale, and I'll talk about it. And then that one will end in a week, which will be the next Thursday, which is November 4th. So like I said, some of these will end before the actual fundraiser, just so I've got, you've got some mix. These are not for the fundraiser.
And Auntie Christy, yes, if you want to participate in the postcards, the recipe cards, which would be wonderful, you just fill out a 3x5 recipe card and mail it to Patrick.
Yeah, and it can be any recipe. It does not have to be vintage. Don't confuse this with my birthday challenge. It can be any recipe.
Yes, just make sure you fill out the cards with a true vintage recipe. Well, not vintage, but just a recipe.
Right. This one I hope to get live probably tomorrow night. This will go up by itself as an eBay sale.
Look at the Dalmatians.
I know, this is just an absolutely gorgeous book. I think this came from Brian Hance of Chicagoland. This one has gorgeous illustrations of all of the different breeds, groups of dogs. So that's the hunting.
Oh, there's a Welsh Springer Spaniel, my dad's dog, Sadie.
I think there was the copyright of this is 1952.
Wow.
And it's in pretty good shape. There's a couple places where there's a little bit of bending. There's a little, it looked like it probably was sitting on a bookshelf with a book that was slightly smaller. But you can see there's just a little bit of discoloration in the top, like ½ inch. So it's been protected by something, but a little bit of it was exposed to the air. So it's a little discoloration, but not much, and really not a lot of foxing really at all. There's a little spot on the very top of the back.
That is stunning.
Yeah, the opening is just like, if you got a Saint Bernard, you just want to frame that. It's the story of the Saint Bernard with this great 2-page spread. That Saint Bernard just staring right at you. Then we've got the sporting dogs. We got a 2-page spread of some of the spaniels. See, this is the cheat sheet I needed when I was trying to identify the different breeds.
And that can be hard with the little figurines because I feel like sometimes they kind of get their breeds combined a bit.
The hound group. So we got the Basset, got my little Huck.
Oh, there's Huck.
Oh, and I need to show that. So anyway, so this will go, again, I need to get myself organized. But hopefully the reason I brought these was to get them up tomorrow night. So some things are live to end on the 4th. Did we have a question? I'm sorry. Did you say that, Katie?
No, I was just saying hello to Laura at Fatbird Finds. I'm assuming it's Laura because the orange bird isn't in the chat.
So this was a donation. This went up on my Instagram. So, and I think Susan Way commented that she'd never seen Huck up close. And I think Susan, can't remember if it was Susan or was it Tammy Renee? Maybe it was Tammy Renee Walker, that they have a Basset Hound. And so they're like, oh, I never saw Huck up close. So that's Huck. But if you look on the top of my head, that came from Melody and Halem. It is a Doxie Oktoberfest hat. And check out, the Doxie is wearing a mask. I thought that was adorable.
Is darling.
So it's got a very long,
Patrick.
It's a very long tail. What was that, Katie?
I said, you look good in that hat.
Thank you. So that hat I will wear during the sale on the 11th, so the actual sale. And that item will be listed on eBay auction to end during the sale. So you will have the option of purchasing a fundraiser worn hat. And so hopefully we'll get some fun bidding going up on that, so that Melody and Halem's donation of the Doxie, the Doxtober Doxie, can bring in some good money, because I think he's adorable. I mean, you don't really see him just because of the way he's angled. I'll try and zoom in. He actually does say Oktoberfest on the side, and I think it says Cincinnati instead of Cincinnati. Zin, like Zinfandel, I guess, which I think was the Oktoberfest that they attended. So
that is a really unique piece.
Absolutely. So I didn't bring him, only because I forgot to bring him, but I did promote him. And I think the Doxie in a mask is just such a unique capture of our time. There'll probably be other Oktoberfest Doxie hats in the future. They're not going to have masks. Well, at least let's hope they don't have masks next year. So that I've decided that I am going to be, yes, the Doxie is wearing a mask. So what I'm going to do is put that up for sale, but I'll do it as an auction, but I'll do it while I'm wearing it. So I'll promote it, but I'll wear it, and then I'll be talking about that. I do have a bunch of other books, and this is another case open to suggestions. Some of them are contemporary. So I've got like a McGruff coloring book. I've got a Sandra Boynton board book, The Night Before Dogmas. One of the ideas that I have behind some of these is I could just I'm going to make some mystery boxes and some box lots that I could throw one of these into each of them just to spread them out. But what I'm wondering is, do I want to take all the contemporary books and make a lot of their own, either to sell them as a flat price or probably just as a flat price for the contemporary ones. What do you think? Would it be better to kind of just populate them into mystery boxes or lot boxes, or should I sell an actual lot? Because the benefit of selling it as a lot is these could all ship media mail, so that if you buy only the books, you'd be able to pay a lot less to ship it because they could be shipped media mail. That was my thought.
I like the idea of putting them in mystery boxes. However, I think the lots are almost even better, because now you've got an instant little gift, right, especially with those being at the age, and not that adults can't enjoy children's books, because I still do as an adult, but I think as a gift for maybe your grandchild or something, that would be a really fun little lot to have, to take over on Christmas and read with your kids or your grandkids, whatever.
Cool. This is another book that'll probably be going up into
look at
eBay.
That.
This will go into an eBay store as an auction, because this is The Book of Dogs by Rand McNally, copyrighted 1934. So these are photographs and descriptions of the 100 leading breeds. And so they're all black and white because, again, we're 1934. But I think what would be interesting is how some of the breeds would have changed over time.
Now, what is this dog with the curly tail?
A Saluki.
I have not heard of that breed of dog.
It is the mascot of Southern Illinois University, the Salukis.
That is a really cool looking dog.
Let's see. So we've had a question about the pugs. So let's see. Is there a pug?
Oh, yeah.
There is a pug.
Oh, there's a pug.
Not a puggle. I don't know what a puggle is.
I think a puggle is a pug and a beagle.
Oh, okay. So the pug is number page 58. So let's see if this looks like Louis. Page 58.
Oh, yes. There's little Louis. Now, see, I think that pug almost has...
That is a Halloween dog if I've ever seen one. Yeah. Holy crap.
I always see them at the dog shows, the Brussels Griffon, and I'm like, oh, okay, those are interesting.
That looks like it just came out of a washing machine. That's awful.
He looks
Brussels
like
Griffon they're cute. That is horrible.
It's like he looks like he got wet in the rain.
So how do modern day pugs compare to that? His legs look
I'm looking at that pug, and I think, and it's hard to tell a little bit on screen, but he might have a double curl. And what's interesting about pugs is that some tails are double curled, meaning they're kind of looped into each other twice. And then Louis does not have the double curl. But if she did, she could compete in an AKC competition, and she would be considered almost the perfect pug by having the double curl tail.
I did not know that pugs came from Holland.
No, I've always heard they came from China, so that's really cool.
I'm sorry. I brought them to Holland. Okay, they are from China. I saw the Dutch thing, but I'm trying to read underneath. So, okay. So that is, let's see what they've got for Doxies. I'm assuming they would be in here.
And Auntie Kay's asking what the goal is this year and how much we raised last year.
Our goal this year is, last year we raised $3,500, and this year the goal is $5,000. And the biggest way that we're hoping to do that is through the donation of the mystery boxes. So before I go, Katie, remind me, I will list the people we've got donating mystery boxes so far. Because if you do a sponsorship, for every $5 worth of sponsorship you do for the fundraiser or for the charity, for each $5 you give in sponsorship, you will get an entry to win a set of 5 mystery boxes. And right now, I think we have about 30 mystery boxes in total. So we'll have 6 winners, and hopefully I'll get more. Some people who participated last year did not choose to participate this year, but other people found out about it and are participating for the first time. So I'm kind of balanced out a little bit. But I think right now we're a little short of where we were last year. I've already forgotten what page.
I see some questions here, and
Sure, yeah, lay them on me.
Looking at Dana's comment, and I think that Dawn already has an Amazon page, but she's specifically asking about Amazon Smile. She said that she assumes the Dachshund Rescue is a 50c13 organization, and if you use Amazon Smile to order items, you can request a percentage of your purchases go to them, and they do that for their local bulldog rescue. And I think that they do that. Is that right, Patrick? Or am I getting?
I believe it is. I don't know if Dawn is still in the chat. I do my Smile to a different organization. Sorry. So I believe they do that, but they also have, if I remember correctly, and if Dawn is still here, I'm sure she can add it. I believe she also has an Amazon wish list, so you can purchase from that. And the one thing that she's going to do this year is we're going to be doing larger sponsorships. So like, I think one of the sponsorships, one of the biggest ones was, obviously we don't anticipate a lot of people participating, but if you donate $1,000, you get to name the next rescue. So there will be some like really big opportunities, but there will also be smaller opportunities for like $25. You can buy a week's worth of food, or $50 you buy like a week's worth of medicine. She worked it all out, and I don't have those notes with me. I apologize. Yes, and Dawn is saying she does have Amazon Smile.
That's wonderful.
So she and I are working out the sponsorship levels, and so that, like, once November hits, we will really go hot and heavy promoting that, so that everyone knows. Because again, of the 3,500 we raised last year, probably, I want to say maybe it was almost 50-50. I think like 1,700 was made through the sales during the live sale, and then the other 1,800 was made through the sponsorship opportunities for the grand prize. Now, last year, if you had not heard, because we didn't know how popular the grand prize would be, I just said, hey guys, who wants to donate a box? And I was hoping to get 5 or maybe 10. We got 35. So we didn't split it up, because the people that had already bought their sponsorships, and in the beginning, we didn't want to change the rules. Like we said, you'd get whatever was donated. So Kim from Oh My Vintage, if you don't follow her, she ended up receiving 35 mystery boxes. And shortly thereafter, she started selling stuff on eBay. I don't know if that's related, but I have a feeling it is. But regardless, this year we figure it's probably more beneficial to have more winners. So we hope more people will want to participate, because now you'll have 6 chances, if not 7, depending on how many people I've got donating. And one of the things we're doing is that last year we could not allow Canadians to participate, because we couldn't ship into Canada. This year I've got Canadian resellers who are donating to a Canadian winner. So if you're from Canada, you'll probably have a pretty good chance, because I don't think I have that many followers from Canada. But if you participate, for every $5 sponsorship you give to the charity, you'll get an opportunity to win one of the the prize that we have from Canada.
Which is very cool. And I see Auntie Kay's making a really good point. She said some companies will match your donation to a 501c3, and I was able to have my company match my cash donation last year.
And that, I was just going to say, somebody did that, and it must have been her, because I remember when we got the notification, we didn't know it was coming. And so we got the notification that the company had matched it. And that was just a super awesome, surprise, and great that Auntie Christy had done that. And I know my company that now does not do that, but I have worked for companies in the past that do offer that matching. And it's really popular at this time of year, because at the end of, I think it's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving is the like Giving Tuesday.
Yes, I think.
Yes. There's Cyber Monday, and then there's Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I think that she got a lot of Dawn got a lot of stuff, given on Tuesday as well. So so it's a good time to be asking your company. Oh, I never showed the Doxie, so I found the page.
Yeah.
So they only show the one, so they don't separate long-haired versus wire-haired. I like how they actually have it pronounced Dachshund. Dachshund.
German, I'm assuming.
Sometimes called Dutch Hound. I've never heard it called a Dutch Hound, but okay, maybe in 1934 it was. And I think what's interesting about this is if you read a book like this in the 50s, it would be written very differently. And this is still between the two wars, but there's a lot of anti-German sentiment that popped up. And so you've started having dogs that, no, it's not German. So we've got the Dachshund. What's interesting, I don't see the tail at all on this one. If you look in the shadow, there looks like a tiny, tiny little tail, but I think Doxie tails are longer.
I think they are. So I don't know. That one's interesting. And of
I
course,
didn't know that Dox was German for badger.
No, I didn't know that either.
I knew that Hund was German for dog, but I didn't know. So they're badger hounds. They're hunting badgers.
And since this is in black and white, you can't really tell with this Dachshund, but I don't think they have any piebalds represented.
Oh, yeah. They list the rough-haired, long-haired, and dappled variety of different colors. So anyway, so this, again, because of the age, there's a couple condition issues, like the spine has been pushed back. It's still tight, but it's like a weird doubled over spine. I just think that he could bring some. This was also my donation, but I think he could bring some good money. I've got these I picked these up at an estate sale. I grabbed every golden book they had that had a dog on it. Pound puppies. Who remembers Pound puppies?
Those are so cute.
So I've got these little golden books, 5 True Dog Stories, Benji and the Barking Bird. This came locally. So this either came from Brine of Chicagoland or it came from the Huckster handler, Sherry Hines. But Benji and the Barking Bird. So those will probably just go into a regular part of the sale, but I wanted to show some of the stuff.
Those are amazing books.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything I've got. Did anybody else have any other questions about the fundraiser? Anybody who didn't know about it? So Cheryl Ross is also in Canada. So yeah, so there's some definite Canadians that can participate in the winners.
I don't see any questions. I was monitoring, looking to see if there's anything else, but I think everyone was doing a great job helping each other in the chat, and that's fantastic.
All right. Well, I'm tired of showing things. I do have some other stuff, but some of it will be in my sale tomorrow night. But one of the things that Katie and I, when we were trying to figure out, since I was the one that kind of screwed up the duo dive, we were trying to figure out, well, what can we do? So we're like, well, maybe we could play a game. So we're not trying to take anything away from Fatbird Finds. We're not taking anything away if you joined late. Katie is hosting a Jeopardy Halloween edition of Vintage Jeopardy on Sunday. So this was she pulled out some of her games and I pulled out some books. So first we're going to start with Mental Nuts.
And I am up for the challenge.
And you crack them. So everyone get your keyboards ready. And you guys can try and answer these questions, which I will just say, this was a gift from Brian Hansen, Chicagoland area. This was copyrighted 1897, but revised in 1910. So we have a true antique. And I am simply going to say that people were a hell of a lot smarter than us.
They must have been learning some serious stuff in school.
They were learning some serious stuff because we'll do, well, I'm going to, I don't know if they get harder as they go, so let me start at the beginning. Like maybe question number 1.
Yeah, maybe there's an easy one.
Oh, question number 1 talks about clowns. No, we're not going to do that.
Oh, no clown club.
All right. It's a marketing question. Bought a lot of eggs for 12 cents. Had there been 2 more, they would have cost 1 cent less per dozen. how many were in the lot?
Oh boy, a math question.
Ah!
Oh, this is the worst.
All right, so this one might be a little too hard to do like verbally, so like just audio, but I'll say it again. So I bought a lot of eggs, a grouping of eggs for 12 cents. Had there been 2 more, they would have cost 1 cent less per dozen. How many were in the lot? Okay, we're getting answers. Okay, now we're going to impress me.
I'm assuming there were 12 originally in the lot, right? 12 dozen?
Oh, it doesn't say. It says I bought a lot of eggs for 12 cents. Had there been 2 more, they would have cost 1 cent less per dozen.
It would have been 12.
I'm sitting here looking at the answer and I'm like, I have absolutely no idea how you know this. So the answer is, I'll pick an easier one next time. So the answer is 16 eggs for 12 cents means they were 9 cents per dozen. But if you got 18 eggs for 12 cents, then they would have been 8 cents per dozen. Yeah, I don't even understand.
Oh, I don't know. That's making my head swim.
Yeah, that's like, we're going to skip to something simpler.
But good guesses in the chat for 12 and 10. And Dana says that's just wrong.
All right. Some of these are like super complicated. I think if you had like a piece of paper, like you might be able to figure it out. And some of them are like you have to move things like that. Some of these you cannot do, just like I can't say it out loud. So let me try and find some of the ones.
And I see Nate saying he got a nosebleed from that.
Okay, this one I thought was really interesting because this is really hard, but it's something that like you could figure it out. I don't know if we're going to have time for anyone to actually figure it out, but what 4 individual weights will you need if you want to weigh any amount in pounds or half pounds from a half pound to 20 pounds? So if you only can have 4 weights, how could you guarantee you always have the right number of weights if you're only measuring in half pounds or whole pounds, everything from a half pound to 20 pounds?
So it would have to equal a grand total of 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can only have 4 weights. And I think this probably was easier 100 years ago because there were probably standard weight sizes.
And I'm thinking about my scale that I have, my apothecary scale and the little weights. And I can't for the life of me remember. There's only 4 weights in that little container.
Oh, okay.
So there's got to be something to this.
There's some magic to that. Yeah. So depending on what
you're trying to say, you can't have a 10 and a 10.
And I will say none of the weights are whole amounts.
Oh, okay. So you couldn't have.
So there are 4 weights, and all of them are an odd amount. They all have.
I would say originally it would work out if you all had 5-pound weights.
Okay. Well, the first weight you have to be able to cover is a half pound.
Okay.
So you have to have. Oh, Nate's trying to get smart. Nate's got the first one right because you have to have a half pound in order to be able to weigh a half pound.
That's true.
So you have to have a half pound. So that's one of them. But Nate, the other 3 are not whole numbers. They all have half pounds in them.
And I got that today.
And like I said, I have a feeling that the weights probably were standard. So the answers are 1/2, 1.5.
I got it, guys.
Thank you. 4.5 and 13.5. And I'm like, who has a 13.5 weight? Like, that's crazy.
That's so random.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense. So now I'm going to check my weight after this is over and see.
But there's all these cool ads in here.
Oh, look at that.
The best investment a man can make is a Waltham watch.
Oh, that is really fantastic.
And that's what the whole booklet was issued by Waltham Watch. Tell the right time now and all the time.
Oh, I love that.
So we're clearly not getting harder. We started out hard. There is a certain number if multiplied. Oh no, never mind.
And Dana says again, that's just wrong.
Okay, this one I think is like esoteric. So I don't know if there's a logic behind it. Then I'll just say, literally, this is the way the question is written. The question is named the wheel.
The wheel. Oh boy.
Does the top go faster than the bottom?
Well, if it's going down a hill, there's obviously some science here to this. But like I'm picturing cartoons, where the wheel's going down and the dust is coming behind it. So I would assume the bottom would pick up more traction as it's going. I don't know.
It says turning on the ground, yes, but on the shaft, no.
Okay. I see Brian is saying that this needs to be a drinking game where you drink every time you get one wrong.
This one I don't expect anyone to know the answer to, but I find it interesting. In how many different positions can you seat 5 people at a table?
So this is a round table or a rectangle table?
I have a feeling it is a rectangular table that seats 6. Okay. It doesn't say that, but because I think all this is one of those like weird exponential things, because the answer is 120.
Wow.
And it's like, okay,
I wouldn't have guessed that. But I guess if you played around with it, How
many spheres 1 inch in diameter will equal 1 2-inch in diameter? That one is a math. That's again. Let's try non-math one.
Yeah, math is not my strong suit. I will fail every time.
The answer to that one for those who were playing along is 8. 2 times 2 times 2.
Okay, we've got 1 and 2 answers in the chat. Oh, Cheryl, you were close.
You're close. All right. So I don't know how you're supposed to know this, or this like mathematically. What day of the week was July 4th, 1776?
I mean,
nothing else, you can just guess.
Who would know this? But I would guess like Wednesday. I don't know.
And what's really weird is that you figure in 1897 when this was written, that was only 100 years early. Like people might have actually known.
A lot of people are guessing Wednesday. Oh, Peterson says Tuesday.
It's not Wednesday. It's not Tuesday.
So I'm going to say, is it Thursday?
It is Thursday.
And I see someone saying that was this supposed to be fun back then. I'm assuming back then it was like exciting new stuff,
Which is the most? 6 dozen or a half dozen?
A half dozen or a 6 dozen. Okay. Golly, this is so hard.
Oh, so 6 dozen would be 6 times 12 times 12. And a half dozen would be 6 times 12.
Oh boy.
So 6 dozen, it has to be more than half dozen, which it is. All right. Well, I'd like to say let's go to something easier. But I think the next thing I have is, so Peterson at least got it right. But the next thing.
Good job, Peterson.
How many people remember the show? This is going to age a bunch of people. I do not remember this show. This was before my time. How many people remember the show or saw the movie about 21? The game show 21.
This is something I'm adding to my watch list.
So the name of the movie is called Quiz Show, and it was Ralph Fiennes, John, Turtino, or no, I can't remember the guy. I can't remember his name. The guy that did Northern Exposure. I can't think what other.
What's his name?
I can't think of his. Rob.
That's gonna drive me nuts.
Yeah. So people can remember. So Quiz Show is the name of the movie. No, I'm trying to make it, not trying to make anyone feel stupid, but sweet dreams, Cheryl. Rob Morrow. Thank you, Jan. So okay. So the movie is actually very, very good. And so if you don't know the game show and you don't know the movie, so it is not the blackjack show. So somebody said the card show. The card show was, I can't remember what that one was called, but that was where you actually had these like ginormous 2 foot, 3 foot tall playing cards, and you were actually trying to make 21 by playing blackjack. That's not what this is. So what this was it was entirely a trivia game. What I find hilarious, I picked up this book, and so this is part of the game, and it says the equipment. Here's what you need to play this game: 2 isolation booths with automatic calculators. Well, yeah, I just have to have one of those sitting in the bathroom,
laying around, my bathroom or back room.
And then like the categories. So the idea was you'd have 2 people. So it was Ray Fiennes and I want to say John Turturro, but I don't think that's his name. So whoever the other guy was, Van Doren was who he played. You were absolutely right, Jan. So Ray Fiennes played Mark Van Doren, and Cheryl's saying, so yeah, John Tarantino.
That's it, Cheryl. Okay.
He played, I can't think of the name that he played, but anyway, the concept behind this game is you would get categories and you had to reach 21. So that was the goal. You had to reach 21. And the way you did that was by you'd get told the category and then you could pick, I will choose that, I will play that category for 1 point all the way up to 11 points. If you picked it for 1 point, the questions were a little bit easier. If you picked for 11 points, they were just ridiculous. And so you would have to decide, like, okay, I know this category really, really well. I'll go for 10 or I'll go for 11 or I'm going to go for 3. And so the whole idea seems ridiculously complicated, but and you would think, well, I would just do 1 category for 11 and 1 category for 2. I'd be 21. Wouldn't that be great? But the questions are super, super hard. So the categories are, and these would be from the game: American history, animals, art, astronomy, baseball, books, capitals, famous people, food of the world, generals, geography, inventions, kings, music, nature, places and things, music. And this was in the 50s.
So I might have a hand up on the music.
All right, well, we'll do music. So okay, music is on page 30, 31.
We'll see.
All right, so everyone can help Katie out on this. All right, so
I get phone a friend.
And so we'll do a couple of variations. But so it's just like all the other ones, you have the option of doing 1 point, or you can go for 11 points. So how confident are you on music in the 50s?
Okay, I'm gonna go for 11.
Okay. So every question is 5 parts, and you can you can answer them in any order you want. So I'll give you the 5 parts. Yike. Okay. To what duke did Bach dedicate 6 concerts?
Oh, this is classical music.
What opera did Paderewski compose?
Oh, and my grand.
Who was Rigoletto's daughter?
Oh boy, oh no.
In what opera did Napoleon have an important role? And who was Oberon's wife? So that's Shakespeare.
That's Shakespeare. Oh, okay. I know. I think I could get the Shakespeare one if I think about that. Because I love.
Anyone going to help her out? So we've got people. We got Google now. So we got to what duke did Bach dedicate 6 concerts? What opera did Paderewski compose? Who was Rigoletto's daughter? In what opera did Napoleon have an important role? And who was Oberon's wife?
Oberon was from, that's not Macbeth, is it?
No.
No, that's, or is it Hamlet? Yeah, I was going to say Duke of Earl, Christy. That's it.
It is A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Midsummer Night's Dream, that's it. Darn it, I knew that one.
All right, Debbie from Chicago got that one. It's Titania.
Yeah, I love Midsummer Night's Dream. But I don't know the others. Now, see, my grandmother was a music major, and she loves classical music, so she's probably shaming me for not knowing.
Okay, I'll try and find, because you were 100% correct. Those were not 50s questions. So let me try and find the 50s. Let me find the contemporary music questions that was based on.
I don't know my operas.
I would say a lot of this is classic. Okay. What was jazz's predecessor? What music came before jazz? I would have guessed it, but I didn't know it.
Before jazz. Well, let's see. I wouldn't have said swing.
And so this is 8 points. So this is still pretty hard, but it's only one section of the 5.
What is that term?
Okay, we got swing, and that's not. Oh, Jennifer Miller has it.
What? Ragtime. Ragtime.
Yep. Jennifer Miller hit it. Ragtime is correct.
Yep, because it's interesting if you study a little bit about Thomas Edison, he felt that ragtime was for the nuts. He didn't like any music really, and so he thought jazz was just crazy and ragtime was for the nuts.
And so Brian Hans and Deb Sherman got it as well. Now this one is an opera question, but I think people will actually know this one.
Okay.
What opera? This is also from the 8-point section. What opera was adapted from a fairy tale by the brothers Grimm? So what's an opera based on a fairy tale?
Well, there's a lot of Grimm brothers fairy tales. Let's see. Not Cinderella.
I shouldn't get cocky because I need to make sure I got it right. Yes, I did. Like, wait, I think I know this one. So it's basically it's the only opera based on a Grimm's fairy tale.
Cinderella, Snow White.
Jennifer Miller got it again.
Oh, Hansel and Gretel.
Good job.
Now, is the opera, and I've never seen it. So is the opera, do you know, as dark as the Grimm brother fairy
I've never
tale?
seen it. I just knew it existed, but I've not seen it. All right. So these you might know. So these seem to be, I'm not sure they're all contemporary because I don't recognize all the names, but you might. So these are the 5 questions from the 6-point section.
Okay.
What instrument does Rudy Valley play?
Saxophone?
Yes. What instrument does Benny Goodman play?
Trumpet?
No.
Benny Goodman. Let's see.
Anyone help Katie?
I have that record too, and I can picture the cover. And that's why I was thinking trumpet, but that's not right.
Christina thought you were right. She also gave trumpet. Jennifer Miller is either really fast on the Google
clarinet.
Or she's super smart. So yes, Benny Goodman was clarinet. Now this one, I don't know this name, so I don't know what era we're in. Gene Krupa, K-R-U-P-A.
I don't think I know that name.
So I'll see if anyone knows that one. I didn't recognize that one. I don't recognize this next one either, nor do I recognize the instrument. Lionel Hampton.
Oh yeah, Lionel Hampton. I think I have a record of his.
Okay. I will let you knock out the first word, the adjective, if you just say what he plays. He plays a very specific type of instrument that I've never heard of.
And which one are you asking?
Oh, wait. And Gene Krupa, Debbie got that one. No, it's Jan Goodwin got it too. So Gene Krupa was the drums.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
Deb Sherman got that one too. So Lionel Hampton played the vibra harp.
I've not heard of that instrument.
I guess he played it's a kind of harp, but I don't know what a vibra harp is.
I know what a regular harp is.
And the last one, I didn't know he played an instrument at all. Jimmy Dorsey.
Oh yeah, I love Jimmy Dorsey.
I thought he was like a band leader. I didn't know he played. Isn't that Jimmy Dorsey? Isn't he like the big band leader? So evidently he played an instrument too.
Also, I think he did play some instruments.
So, all right. So which instrument he evidently did. So which instrument do you think he played?
I'm trying to picture record covers here that I have that I've seen with instruments on the covers. So, trombone, trumpet.
I'll say as an answer we had earlier.
Saxophone.
Debbie from Chicago got it. Yep, it's saxophone. All right, you probably will know. You'll know a couple of these. So this was the 5 points. We're getting a little bit easier. Who was the king of jazz?
Oh, you would think I would know this, but I don't because
I've never even heard of this guy.
A lot of jazz.
So they're giving credit to Paul Whitman.
Oh, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that one.
But see, I don't listen to a lot of jazz, so that's
okay. Who is the king of swing? We talked about him earlier.
Earlier in the
which is one of the earlier questions.
I wouldn't say Benny Goodman.
That's who they're giving credit to.
Oh, Benny really? Goodman is
the king of swing. Who is Satchmo?
I would have said Dorsey. I'm sorry. What was the next question?
Who is Satchmo?
That's lost on me.
Oh, Satchmo, really?
Yeah,
I thought for sure you know. I didn't even know. I even know that one. Satchmo. Yeah, I somebody's gonna know that one. Yeah, Jan Goodwin got it. It's Louis Armstrong.
Oh, Louis Armstrong. Yep.
Who wrote White Christmas?
Bing Crosby.
No, he's who sang it. Who wrote it?
Oh, who originally wrote it? Oh, that's true. There is somebody. Oh, I don't know.
I feel like some people might know that one, so I'll leave that one open. So that's who wrote White Christmas. Who wrote the Star Spangled Banner?
Francis Scott Key.
Very good.
You know that.
Who wrote Rhapsody in Blue?
Let's see. Wait a minute. Did Irving Berlin write White Christmas?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and a couple of people got that. It looks like Brine got it, and so did Jan Goodwin and Debbie from Chicago. So Rhapsody, who wrote Rhapsody in Blue?
I know that song. I just don't know who wrote that song. Is anyone else getting one?
Sherry sang Rodgers and Hammerstein, but she might have been guessing that for White Christmas. Waiting to see because Rhapsody in Blue. Seeing if anyone's got the answers.
I see lots of great guesses.
Okay, so then here's the easiest ones, which I'd still be screwed. So, what is the first note of the scale? I literally wouldn't have known how to answer this question. Oh, and Deb Sherman got Gershwin.
Oh, okay, Gershwin.
And Debbie from Chicago got Gershwin as well.
I should have known that. I should have known that.
So, what is the first note of the scale? And like once I say it, you're gonna kick yourself. Yeah. See, I would have guessed the same thing. Everyone's guessing letters. The first note of the scale is do.
Do? Yeah,
wait, do. That's not real.
My grandmother, because she was a music teacher, she would sing the do re mi fa sol.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that was considered. So okay, so now if we know the first note of this scale is do, what's the third?
Me.
Yep. What's the fifth?
So.
Yep. What's the seventh?
Do. No. Wait. T.
Yep. And then what's the eighth?
Do.
Yep. So that was the 1 point section, but I would have been screwed because I wouldn't have known do. Like I'd be like middle C. I don't understand what you're doing.
She forgot Mary Poppins.
So
I clearly don't.
I mean, it's unfair because the music I kept saying is like from the 50s, which is when the show was, but clearly they were not asking pop culture music questions.
Yeah, if it were pop culture, doo-wop or rockabilly, I definitely could have gotten.
I mean, I can't think of any of these categories. Like even things that I think I know well, I can't imagine I'd ever want to go for 11 points because like so of the ones that I'm looking at, like I'm thinking capitals, maybe foods of the world, but that's kind of good. That could be scary. I'm pretty good at geography. And that's like it. Like all the others, I'd be like 1 point, please. the game lasts eight days because we're playing for 1 point at a time.
Yeah, it would take forever.
So let's see. Out of those, what do we want to? I mean, I can't embarrass myself because I've got the answer book, but I will try and do it without cheating. What do you want to give me?
I'm trying not to look at the chat, so I'm not cheating.
All right. Well, Dana's asking animals, and I would say that's a fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good area for me, but I will try it. So, and just so people know, the questions are here. The answers are in the back, so you'll be able to see if I'm cheating.
Okay.
So all right. So we're gonna start with the 11 points.
Oh no, unless it has some weird obscure animal.
All right. All right, need help. Name 3 members of the camel family. Okay, I can just stop there, but it's like in South America. Like, wait, there are like, is that like dromedary? 1 hump, 2 hump? Like, I have no idea. Within 10 years and 500 pounds, how long do elephants live and how much do they weigh? Okay. Well, how much they weigh? I'm going to say 3,500 pounds. And I will say they live 50 years.
Don't elephants weigh like 1 ton?
That would be 2,000 pounds. So I said 3,500. So let me jump to the back.
I think I've heard that somewhere. And yes, I think they live, I'm going to say 60 years. I don't know.
All right. So the 3 members of the camp, I'm trying to do it so I'm not looking at the other answers. Oh, llama, alpaca, guanaco, and vicuna.
What is a vicuna?
I've heard of those.
Look that up. But llama, I wouldn't have guessed in the camel family. Interesting.
So within 10 years and 500 pounds, how long do elephants live and how much do they weigh? Okay, the answer is 60 to 70 years. I said 50, so I was within 10, so I got that part right. But I said within 500 pounds, and it says up to 16,000. So 8 tons. So, okay, we're
clearly way off base.
What is the difference between a deer and an antelope?
Well, antelopes have longer legs, don't they?
Do antelopes have horns? Do deer have horns?
Yes, bucks do.
Maybe the female antelopes also have horns. Okay, that
could be because
I like the longer legs. I think antelope can run faster.
Yes, they can run.
And maybe it's something with the way they run, because don't they kind of like lope? Like, don't they kind of like
they do? They like spring. Like,
so Kitchen Corner is saying they're antlers. So I don't want to jump to the back. It's hard to not look at the other answers. Within 50 pounds, give the weight of the following: baby elephant, blue whale, tiger, and gorilla. Okay, E we might be able to come up with. Name 4 animals from which we get ivory. So elephant, rhinoceros. Actually, I don't think does rhinoceros have horns or ivory?
Yeah,
is there hair?
They have tusks, don't they? I don't know.
Walrus. Is that ivory?
I was going to say I think walruses are, yes. Elephants. Well, whales.
Whales have ivory?
Haven't I heard of whales and ivory? I don't know. Someone's putting in whale in the chat, and that seemed.
I mean, their teeth are baleen, which I don't think that's not considered ivory.
This is so hard. I don't know my animals. I'm failing.
So deer have solid antlers. Antelopes have hollow.
Oh, I wouldn't have known that.
An elephant, hippo, walrus, and sperm whale. So there is a whale that has ivory in it.
I knew I had heard something about whale and ivory.
Okay, so not rhino, but a hippo. Okay, we did get the walrus. We got 2 of them, and somebody got the 3rd. And then I just looked at the weights. Okay, so baby elephant is 200 pounds. A blue whale is 300,000 pounds. A tiger is 600 pounds, and a gorilla is 650 pounds. Wait a minute. A baby gorilla is 650 pounds?
That is heavy.
That seems ridiculously huge. I've seen pictures of it's just like a person.
They must be packing it in somewhere.
Okay, and Cheryl is clarifying. So rhino is keratin. I was saying, because rhinos get hunted for, like, there's an aphrodisiac thing in Asian medicine that they use the horn for. So it's not rhino.
Yes.
All right, so let's see.
Auntie K says that this is the educational part of the show.
So now I get to skim for the answers that I might actually know. What part of China do pandas come from?
Oh gosh, I read this not too long ago.
Like from the mountains, isn't it? Like the Himalayas?
Yes, I read a whole article on pandas.
What is the? Oh, I know this one. What is the smallest bear? Koala?
Yeah, koalas are.
No, koala's a marsupial.
They're not actually bears.
Yeah,
though.
That's a marsupial. So let's see. Brown bear.
I think it's Beijing, isn't it, for the pandas? I don't know.
Western. That to me is cheating. Western China. Smallest bear is the sun bear. I never even heard of that.
I've not heard of a sun bear.
What is a land turtle called? A tortoise, right?
Yeah, tortoises.
What is the largest cat found in the wild? Lion? Anything bigger than a lion?
I don't know what's bigger than a lion. Tigers are smaller than lions.
I think leopards are smaller.
Yeah, I think lions.
Hey, Auntie Christy, what do you have in California? Saber-tooth? I don't think those are around anymore.
Garfield?
Yeah.
There we go.
What is an apiary? Oh, I know that one. That's for bees. What mammal can fly like a bird? Bat? Is a bat a mammal?
I thought they were. No, they're mammals, aren't they? Oh, I don't know. I clearly am feeling very much like I don't know my animals.
So that was 4 out of the 7, 4 out of the 5 in the 7 pointers. The last one is name 3 of the 4 apes. Planet of the Apes. Return of the Planet of the Apes. I have no idea. I don't know a single ape. Grape ape.
There's
Magilla gorilla.
Gorillas and apes, but aren't there?
I mean, what would be an ape? Like, is that like an orangutan? Is that considered an ape?
Oh yeah, orangutans, and I'm trying to, like you're at the zoo.
A spider monkey? Like, I don't know what's considered an ape. Gorilla?
And then
okay, so Christy's saying orangutan, gorilla, and chimp.
Chimp, yes, I think chimp would be part
chimpanzee. Of okay, so I can go to number 7 points. So okay, so we got tortoise. That was right. What is the largest? Actually, the largest cat they say is the tiger. So it must be
really. I thought tigers were smaller. Okay.
All right, apiary is for bees. I got that one right. The mammal that can fly like a bird is a bat. Yay.
Oh, a bat. Okay.
And name 3 of the 4 apes: gorilla, gibbon, chimpanzee, and orangutan. Well, I think we came up with gorilla, chimpanzee, and orangutan.
Yep, we just
plus like 8 other things.
Baboons was the word I was.
Oh, baboons! I guess that's not.
I couldn't think of it.
So gibbon, we didn't, but you only needed 3 of the 4, so I think we were okay with that. Vinny's not here, so we'll just ask this question: what is a titmouse?
Vinny would be having a field day in the chat.
And what is a dormouse?
I think a titmouse is like a small field mouse, isn't it?
I honestly don't know.
And then
I think a dormouse I thought was like a little field mouse. Is a titmouse a bird?
Oh yes,
okay. Christy and Jennifer are saying bird.
But so then the other one must be the field mouse.
I'm trying to think, because I think there's like Jemima Puddle Duck and all of the Beatrix Potter animals. Yeah. One of them's a dormouse, and I think it's just a little mouse.
A tiny little mouse.
Do bees gather wax? They use wax to seal up the honeycomb.
Yep, and I
thought they just kind of like spit it out. Like they secrete it or something. They don't gather it, do they?
No, I don't think so. Don't they?
Where does wax grow wild?
I think it just disappears from them somehow.
has a dromedary 1 or 2 humps. Okay, no, dromedary is a camel.
Well, camel 2 humps, right?
Sure.
I don't know.
There's a 50-50 chance because we're only the 5-pointers, so then we get the 50-50 chances. And then what is a young bear called?
A cub.
That's a cub. That's the Chicago Cubs. All right, so that was for the 5 points. So let's see, 5 points. A titmouse is a bird.
Okay, a bird.
A dormouse, they describe as a squirrel-like mouse. Okay. Do bees gather wax? No. Has a dromedary 1 or 2 humps? 1. What's a young bear called? A cub. Let's see. So let's jump all the way back to the 1-pointer. Because once again, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to answer these. Which animal is known as king of the beasts? Is that the lion?
I would think lion. Aren't they at the top of the food chain?
That's like Wizard of Oz. If I were king of the forest. Which animal carries its own trunk?
Elephants, right? Or is that
they don't carry the damn thing? It's just attached to themselves. That doesn't count. But it's not like they can leave it behind. It's not baggage. But I guess that's what it's got to be.
When they lift it up, would they consider that carrying?
I guess they're trying to maybe a play on words that it's like it's a trunk like.
Or maybe they're talking about an anteater.
Ooh.
Because anteaters have trunks.
But how do you carry it? Like, to me, that would mean they pop up on their hind legs and hold it in their front paws. Like, okay, I gotta carry my trunk. I can't
think of an animal that detaches its
trunk. Yeah, it detaches their trunk.
Carries it like a kangaroo in their little pouch.
From what animal do we get silk? Well, that's a worm.
Yes, worms.
From what animal do we get wool?
Sheep.
Well, that could be a sheep or it could be an alpaca or whatever.
Yes, alpacas.
What animal is man's best friend?
Dog.
All right, so let's see. So that
definitely not a cat. Sorry, cat.
So king of the beast was the lion. Carries his trunk as the elephant. Silk is the worm. Wool is the sheep. Man's best friend, dog. Yay, we got 1 point.
Yeah, 1 point.
All right, so I think you and I were enjoying this more than everybody else. But so I will be selling this book for like a penny because no one is going to want it.
But you can challenge your friends at
what you do is you study it and then you mail it to yourself, say, hey, Trusty just sent me this book, let's play, and then you just blow them all out of the water because you know all the answers.
You can write the answers on your arm.
There you go. Dana's so we got 2 competing. Dana is saying this game is not cool, and Peterson possibly being sarcastic I was enjoying it. We need to make everyone feel good about themselves. So we're going to finish with the places and things 1-point series of questions.
Okay, we should be able to get this.
In what country is the Eiffel Tower?
Oh, France.
In what city is the Bronx Zoo?
Well, New York.
In what state is the Golden Gate Bridge?
San Francisco. Well, state is California.
Where is the Lincoln Memorial?
Washington, D.C.
Now, this is the hardest one because you have to answer the question based on a book that was copyrighted in 1954, I think. What is the world's tallest building?
Okay, in 1954. Well, there was something already taller than the Empire State Building at that time. So, and the Eiffel Tower. So I guess maybe at the time it would have been Empire State Building, even though there was a tower that was taller than it.
But I thought the Chrysler Building was taller than the Empire State Building.
I would have thought so too.
Because I remember I listened to a podcast, I read a book, and it said that when they were building the Chrysler Tower, Chrysler Building, they built the the pointy part they built it within the building, and then they raised it up because they didn't want the Empire State Building to know that was
interesting.
Coming up. And I think the technicality is the Empire State Building has more usable floors, because when you got into that central part, it's all decorative. So, but they're saying the Chrysler Building is the second tallest building in the world.
Yes, Spire, Susan.
Thank you. So I think that maybe they were basing it like, because technically, and then there was another question, because then the Empire State Building had the big tower to attach a blimp to, a dirigible to, which would have been the scariest shitty thing would have ever experienced. They never did it. There's pictures, people did drawings of it, but no one ever actually attached a dirigible to the tower of the Empire State Building, because you literally would have had to walk out of the blimp onto the world's tallest building. Like, that would have been people would be passing out left and right. They'd be like, "Oh God, I'm gonna die." So they never did it. But I don't remember if what it's all these things, like what you can count. Like, I remember back in my day, I went to Kuala Lumpur to see the Petronas Towers, which at that time was the tallest building in the world. It has now been surpassed. But I'm looking at them going, hello, I'm from the land of the Sears Tower. These are not taller than the Sears Tower, because the Sears Tower has 110 usable floors. Petronas Towers have 88 usable floors. But they determined that the spires on the Petronas Towers were not decorative, that they were formed part of the building.
Oh, so they
got away with being the tallest. And I'm like, shenanigans, you're lying. So
my great-grandfather, Oscar, who I've talked about before, he was one of the first pioneers in radio in Southeast Missouri. And an interesting fact about that is the radio tower at that time was taller than the Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower. And it still exists. You can see it driving from Illinois into Cape Girardeau, Missouri, which is pretty cool.
So Jan was asking clarification on the Empire State Building. So it was started actually right before the Depression, and they kept building it. Yep. So there's a lot of art in there that was from the Works Progress Projects Administration, because it took years to build it. So it kind of carried between the 20s and the 30s. And the Chrysler Building was designed in the 20s, and it also didn't get built until the 30s. And by that time, that design was already passé. People didn't build Art Deco anymore. So that's why it's really the only Art Deco building of height in New York, because at the time you should have been building, the Depression hit, and everyone's like, we can't afford to build anything. So it's why the Deco movement in the United States isn't nearly as big as it is in Paris, because they started earlier and they weren't hit directly by the Depression at the same time. So they actually had more time to do design around Deco. You just don't see much. So we have more modern, which is late 30s. So things going into World War II. So.
And an interesting fact about the Empire State Building is they actually only use Otis elevators. They had other contracts to get different elevators, but the guy that designed it believed at the time that Otis was the best. And so there's a whole exhibit, if you visit the Empire State Building, on the fact that they have Otis elevators. They're very proud of these elevators. And so now I always look in elevators to see if it's an Otis elevator.
Oh, cool. Actually, I couldn't even name another elevator. To me, Otis is the only.
Yeah, that's the only.
There are others, but
our building does not have an Otis. I don't know what we have, but it's definitely inferior.
So so that's actually an interesting conversation too, because Only Attic's Treasure is saying it's a gorgeous building. Just in general, I'm from Chicago, so obviously I've got a soft spot for the Sears Tower. But what is we don't really talk about in the vintage community. We don't really talk about architecture all that much. So what's your favorite either buildings or era for buildings? What are you attracted to, Katie?
Well, I have to say, I like the Art Deco stuff, and I really love anything that comes from the 30s and 40s. And here we have a series of beautiful buildings that were built in the late 30s, and they were designed a little bit more in a kind of Deco facade, but then the insides are a little bit more Spanish. in their design. And the guy that designed Florida Theater is the same guy that designed San Marco Theater, which I posted about. It's on my Instagram. But I just find that style of architecture totally fascinating. But if I had to go to any building in the world, my favorite, hands down, is Empire State Building. I have a very soft spot for that.
Really? Oh, interesting.
Yep.
I did the Empire State Building. We had a German exchange student when my daughter was a freshman in high school, and we went to New York. We saw Broadway shows, and that we went to the Empire State Building. 'Cause I want to say it's either open 24 hours or it's open like back in the day. I'm sure with COVID it's changed, but I want to say it is open 24 hours. I think the observation deck is open 24 hours. That's why it was a meeting spot for what was the Cary Grant, Deborah Carr movie? Because you're supposed to be able to get up there all the time. So anyway, if you ever want to
late tours.
What's that?
I said they have late tours.
Right. So I don't know, maybe not 24 hours. They definitely have late tours. I highly suggest if you ever want to go to the Empire State Building, go to a late tour, because we showed up.
Night is the best.
And there's they had the Disney, where you they were all closed off, and we just walked straight to the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
There was nobody else there. It was maybe 11 o'clock at night. I mean, it was perfect. You don't get to see, you can't see New Jersey. You can't see a distance, but you see the city lit up, and it's actually very pretty.
Yeah, I have to say, seeing it at night, and I told this to my friend when we visited New York, I said, we got to go to the Empire State Building at night, because even though you can't really see into other parts, you can see into Queens, and you can see the Pepsi Cola sign all lit up from across the way, which is really cool. And of course, I mean, it's just gorgeous at night. And I think we went about 10:30, and there was hardly anybody there. So it was nice. We just walked through the lines.
So we need to compare our old movies, because I have to admit, I've never seen Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh, that's a good movie.
So I'm talking about the Cary Grant, Deborah Carr movie that I cannot think of the name. That was the one where they were supposed to meet at the Empire State Building. And so Christina is saying, did they meet at the Empire State Building? But people are talking about Sleepless in Seattle. Is Sleepless in Seattle also Empire State Building?
Oh gosh, it's been a while since I've seen that movie, but it's very, very good. That is, I think,
In A Fair to Remember. In A Fair to Remember. Yep. Yeah, that's the movie I was trying to come up with.
Yes.
Okay, Kitschy Corner got it too. So yeah, In A Fair to Remember. So for a little bit of a spoiler for people that don't know this movie, but I'm sorry, it's been out for 80 years. So if you haven't seen it yet, too damn bad. So in that movie, so we'll have to compare it to Sleepless in Seattle, because I don't remember Sleepless in Seattle. I've never seen Sleepless in Seattle. So what happens in An Affair to Remember is they're being slutty on a ship, and they're each engaged to other people. Sorry, they're being slutty on a ship. They fall in love. So this is Cary Grant and Deborah Carr. I couldn't even remotely tell you their names, their character names. I want to say Jimmy Durante was the one, but that's not right. It's like Durante or something like that. But anyway, they fall in love, but they each have their own lives. And so they make a deal. They say, okay, you need to go figure out your other life, whether you're going to get married, you're going to break up, whatever. And in 1 year, we will meet at the top of the Empire State Building. And if one of us doesn't show up, it means there's a good reason that we decided we changed our mind. We don't want to be with you. The sex wasn't good enough, whatever. We're not, and there was no questions asked, but in 1 year we need to do this. So 1 year passes. They've both broken up with their respective partners. He goes to the Empire State Building. She is on her way to the Empire State Building, and she gets hit by a car. And so he is on the top of the Empire State Building, 100 floors up, and you hear the ambulance picking up his loved one down in the main level. And so he waits, and he just waits forever, and she never shows up. And so another year passes. She has survived, but she is paralyzed. And she doesn't want to go to him because she won't go. It's some really cheesy line, I won't go to him until I can run to him, or some gag worthy thing. So, and then he ends up, I did say spoiler alert, but again, you've had 8 years to watch the movie. So then they run into each other at a New York theater, and she has gone back to her previous partner, but he doesn't realize she's paralyzed because she's sitting in a movie theater seat, not in the wheelchair. And then at the end of the movie, he discovers that there's a painting involved. I haven't seen this movie in like probably 10 years. He becomes a painter to make money, and I think he paints her. I don't remember. And then there was a remake of it with Katharine Hepburn plays the mother. Warren Beatty and the chick from American President.
What's her name?
And I think Warren Beatty and her were partners in real life too, but what was her name?
I'd have to Google that.
She was the female lead she's a female love interest in American President. Warren Beatty and no, I was gonna say Anne Bancroft. That's not right. Annette Bening. Yes, thank you, Annette.
Yeah, Annette Bening. There you go.
Annette Bening. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hello, Fatbird Fines. Have we met? So yes, so they did a remake of that one, and it kind of follows the same storyline, I think. But I haven't watched that one even longer. All I remember, there was a great line from Katharine Hepburn that she's like in real life and in the movie, she's like 90, and she doesn't have a cleaning lady, or if they're talking, and she's like, "Well, I knew I was going to live to 90. I wouldn't have fired the maid."
Yeah, I've seen the remake.
Like the best line. So that was probably the 90s, maybe 80s, 90s, maybe 2000s. And the Affair to Remember, that would have been 30s, maybe 40s.
30s or
I want to say it was before the war. I want to say, like, that's kind of how I date some of those movies. I want to say it was probably the 30s.
I'd love to get a lot of those on disc to actually have, which I think would be amazing.
I like American President. I own that, and I actually watch that fairly regularly. It's got Michael J. Fox in it. They're hilarious. And if you like The West Wing, you need to watch The American President. They use some of the same set. There's some of the same writers are involved. There's some of the same actors are involved. If you like West Wing, you've got to watch The American President. It's pretty funny. Oh, yeah. So Deb's saying it was the end of the 50s.
I thought it was earlier. Maybe I'm just all mixed up today.
Yeah, I mean, I could just be mixed up because, I mean, it's definitely black and white. He was pretty young, though.
Yeah, it's black and white.
Because Philadelphia Story is one of my favorite movies, and I want to say that was the 30s. Oh, I don't know. Google. Somebody have fun.
I don't know. I need Google.
Absolutely. And let's all remember the days growing up where you'd sit at a
library
kitchen table or whatever, and you'd be like, "Oh, who is that person?" And then no one ever know because you'd have to remember and then go find an encyclopedia.
Yep.
So Dana looked it up. Affair to Remember was 1957. So okay, I didn't realize it was that late.
And I have not seen Sleepless in Seattle in quite a while. And so I've kind of forgotten some of it, but I need to go back and watch it. I have it on DVD. Love Sleepless in Seattle. And another one is, now see, it's the day of me blanking out on everything.
Dana at least owned it. She's like, I used Google.
I used the Google. I like
nothing wrong with that.
I love Notting Hill. I don't know. That's another great ultimate.
I don't love it, but I definitely have watched that multiple times.
Notting Hill.
I have some very weird and esoteric movie interests. Like I tend to be a little bit like one of my favorite movies, I wouldn't even say contemporary anymore, but not black and white, is Age of Innocence. I absolutely love that movie. I love everything about that movie. I think it's a great adaptation because I love the book. And so it's like, I do kind of get into some of the heady stuff, but you look at what I've got on, on my Netflix, I also have King Ralph, which is one of the most ridiculous movies ever. So
I like comedy, and I certainly do like my fair share of rom-coms.
I like You've Got Mail because so You've Got Mail. This is like a weird little factoid too. So trivia. Okay. Now I've got to remember the answer myself. What is You've Got Mail has been made at least 3 times. What are all 3 of them based on?
Are they based on a book?
Sort of. They're based on a play.
Oh, a play. Okay. I did not know that.
So I'm wondering if anybody knows this. And what are the 3 versions that were made?
Now, I obviously know the original, You've Got Mail.
That's not the original. That's the 3rd.
That's a 3rd one?
That's the 3rd.
Oh, gosh, I am so behind.
Very good. Deb Sherman got the 1st one. Shop Around the Corner with Jimmy Stewart.
Yes, because that's what they named her bookstore, isn't it? In the one that I'm familiar with, isn't her bookstore the Shop Around the Corner?
That is what. Yeah, that's what they name her bookstore in You've Got Mail. Yes.
Yeah. So
the first. So we still have to name the book or the play that it was based on, and the 2nd version, which was a musical.
A musical? Well, now I have to see this.
It's a movie musical. So there's also, because the reason I like this whole thing and the reason I know it is because then it was also turned into a Broadway musical, and I was actually in it.
Cool.
Not in the Broadway version, obviously. But yes, Deb Sherman at least is naming it. So there's a movie with Judy Garland, and the someone else is...
do love Judy Garland.
What was the guy's name? He's like a big, broad-shouldered guy. Van Johnson. Yes, she came up with the name. So Van Johnson and Judy Garland were in the movie. It was a Little Shop of Horrors.
But that is good.
It was in color, but it was with Judy Garland and it was with Van Johnson.
I need to know my movie history.
And it takes place in Mr. Oberkugen's music store.
I wonder if anyone else is going to get this.
And the storyline is much closer to the play and to the first movie than it is. You've Got Mail changes a ton. I mean, the general concept is there, but
I wonder how many people know or claim which version to them is.
Yeah, Tim got it. Tim got it. Good Old Summertime. That was the Judy Garland. So, and the play, which no one seems to have gotten the play. So the play was is called Parfumery.
I did not know this.
And it was written in Hungarian. So if you watch the Jimmy Stewart version and if you watch the Broadway musical version, which was called She Loves Me, they take place in Budapest because that's where it originally was placed. And there's a whole, okay, so in the beginning, the play and the first movie version, the female character has lost her job at another location and she's trying to get a job at the store. And
that's interesting.
And the guys and the main guy already works at the store and initially says, no, we're not hiring anybody. And in both cases and in the play, she ends up getting a job there anyway. So it sets up that they hate each other when in fact that was carried through all of them is they're all pen pals. They're pen pals throughout the whole thing. So they all fall in love. And so in Parfumery, it's a perfume store. In the Shop Around the Corner is like a kind of like they sell stationery and cigarette boxes. It's just like a shop. Then in the Good Old Summertime is a music store because you gotta let Judy Garland sing. So there's a lot of diegetic songs in there. So she's singing in the store. And then they kind of changed it for You've Got Mail. And then the Broadway version, it follows the play. It takes place in a perfume shop.
That is so interesting. Okay, I've got to go down a hunt now for all of these.
Yeah, so let's see. Margaret Sullivan. I'm not sure I know which one is Margaret Sullivan, the little girl in Meet Me in St. Louis?
Yeah, isn't she?
Or no, is that Margaret O'Brien? Which one's Margaret Sullivan? And people keep shooting out things about Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, now suddenly Seymour. It's stuck in my head.
I'm debating auditioning for a show, and I might be using the dentist song from Little Shop of Horrors.
Really? Oh, that's good.
So you guys can tell me. So I'm auditioning, believe it or not. I'm auditioning for another children's show. Shoot me now. But
I'm surprised, Patrick.
I'm auditioning for Matilda. There's actually a local theater company is actually doing Matilda. So I want to audition for the role that I was cast in originally and never got to play. So I want to be Mr. Wormwood. So I'm trying to find the best audition song. And what I've been told by a music director is I should use the dentist song. And I think that's a little dark, even for Mr. Wormwood.
I think it's slightly dark, but it's
and if you don't know the show, I'm just going to be standing in front of these people talking about shooting puppies and bashing cats on the head.
Yep.
I have a feeling that's a bad idea. Is Margaret Sullivan the female lead? Oh, that's a good question. It's possible because I don't remember the name of the lead in The Shop Around the Corner. I mean, she was somebody that did other things, but I could not tell you if that was her or not. Somebody's going to have to Google it.
Yeah, we need to phone a friend.
But I don't know if she married Henry Fonda. That one I wouldn't know. So yeah, so I'm debating whether. So my go-to song is from Tuck Everlasting, but I don't think that's necessarily the appropriate song for Matilda either. But I know it better, so I'm debating whether I should do something I know better. Just otherwise I'm going to. I kind of know the dentist song, but I don't know it super super well. So
I think you'd be safe to play it with something that you know really well and that you've done a bunch. Yeah,
because it's like what I like about the song from Tuck Everlasting is nobody knows it. So nobody can sit there and be like, okay, this is where you're supposed to hit the A, or this is where you're supposed. Nobody knows the song, so I can do whatever the fuck I want.
You're live on YouTube.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Trusty After Dark. Anyway,
well, it's close to midnight, so
I could do whatever I want, and no one can claim that's not the way the song goes because they don't know the song. So,
and that's the thing when you do musical theater and you pick something that's so iconic in the world of musical theater and people know it, if you mess it up,
you do anything differently. Yep, anything everyone's gonna know. Nope, that's not what you were supposed to do. You fail.
Yep.
So, yeah. So anyway, so that's because the auditions are next week. So I do not get home until Sunday, and auditions are Tuesday. So I'm like, I have to figure this out now.
And then maybe if you do something you already know, you won't be so stressed practicing for it.
Exactly.
And
I have the music for the one that I know, and yeah. So that's probably what I'll do. But yeah. So I've been like doing all the talking. So what did you have anything you were going to share, Katie, or did you have any games that you wanted to torture us with?
Yeah, I do have Trivial Pursuit, so we could play a couple of cards.
Oh, we might actually be able to master Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah, I think that this would be a little bit easier. So let's see. I pulled out. Okay, yep. I think you guys might be able to get this one. This one's easy.
Which edition are we in? Not that it matters, but what edition are we in?
Let's see. This is Trivial Pursuit Genius Edition.
Okay.
All right, so this is the
Yes, Melody. I am having a live sale tomorrow. It'll be short though.
Okay, so are you ready? Can you guys get this? Now, I can because this just seems like
you have the answer.
Yes, and I have the answer. So, what is the largest selling soft drink in Morocco?
I'm gonna go with Coke.
And you would be correct. Coca-Cola is the largest selling soft drink in Morocco.
Now I'm going to ask you a question because you are. I don't know if technically you're. I know you are in the South, but I don't know if Florida is considered South. Is it? I always hear the stereotype that when you order a soft drink in a restaurant, you say you want a Coke, even if you want a Sprite or you want a 7-Up or whatever. Is that a real thing?
It's a real Southern thing.
That people just say Coke, and then so when you say it's like, what do you want to drink? Want a Coke? Then what's the next question? What if you wanted a Diet Coke, or what if you wanted a 7-Up? Like, how do you clarify?
So if you go an hour from me into Palatka, that is very much a real thing that everybody does, and I don't know how they clarify it. But here in Jacksonville, people either say they want Coke, they want Sprite, they want Dr. Pepper. Like, we're just very straightforward with what drink we want.
Okay.
But if you do go into other parts of Florida and you get more southern, that is definitely something that people totally do. And
that's what I've heard. It was like a southern thing.
And I don't know why.
Deep South, not. And I agree with Peterson. And somebody else said it too, Christina. And I was interesting in Canada. It's pop. Here in Chicago, it's pop.
Now, we don't say, like some people will say, I want a soda. But that's very rare. Most people blanket statement all soft drinks as Coke. You just say, that is something like, oh, I'm going to get Coke. Well, that could mean that you're getting any variety. But usually if you're going to order at a restaurant, you're more specific, at least here in Jacksonville.
Okay. Because what I find interesting is Dr. Pepper was from Texas. So it's like that's South. So it's like, why did Dr. Pepper get completely passed over in this whole... So in Kentucky South, Fatbird Finds is saying, they say specifically, but the general is not soda at pop. Oh, it's Coke.
Yep, that's what we do here.
Now, so you're saying so it's Coke if you're just talking about soft drinks.
Yeah, in general.
You call everything Coke, but if you order it, you'll okay, I guess that makes sense.
Now, did you know that if you go to the original Dr. Pepper plant in Texas, you can get a special variety of Dr. Pepper that you cannot get anywhere else. It has pure cane sugar in it. So I've had it. It's actually a superior version.
Well, they sell the pure cane sugar version in stores now.
Oh, they do? Okay. Yeah. Well, you used to
I don't know if it's the exact same as what's at the plant, but they do have a pure, and the logo is a little bit vintagey.
To differentiate. Okay, so that's the one.
Yeah.
You used to be only able to get it from that particular place, and my friend's mom lived near there, and she would ship crates of it to my friend.
All right, what else you got? So what was that one? Was that geography?
This one, yes, this one was geography. All right, now we're in entertainment. So since we're in the after dark hour, here we go. What was the first X-rated film to win the Best Picture for an Oscar?
Last Picture Show.
Nope.
Ooh.
This one might be a stumper.
I do not know. So let's see if anyone knows from the chat.
Okay. And Mexican Coke is the bomb. If I can get it, that's what I always get. No, not Last Tango in Paris. Not Valley of the Dolls. It's Midnight Cowboy.
Oh, Midnight Cowboy. Okay.
So that's fun. And then, let's see. All right. Let's not do that one. I was going to do that one, but I think we should skip it. Let's see. Oh, that one's bad too. Okay. There's some ones that I don't think are very YouTube appropriate. Let's see. Okay. Here's a science question for you. What's the voltage of most car batteries? I think I would have gotten this one.
6?
Might double that. Yes, and Melody got it 12, and
Christina got it at 12 also.
I know that because there's a song by Jimmy Buffett. It's more of his obscure work called The 12-Volt Man, and it talks about car batteries. That's the only reason I know that.
There's a discussion in Tucker, one of my favorite movies. Discussion in Tucker. They're trying to find a battery. They end up using like a helicopter battery, and I'm like trying to run the dialogue in my head because I couldn't remember what it was.
Okay, let's.
Okay, and that's Christina's saying old ones were 6, and that's it. Tucker, those automobiles are from 1954, so maybe back then they were 6. So I just haven't updated my references.
Okay, let's see what else. No, that one. Some of these are really hard. So let's see. I don't think that we would know. Okay, let's pick a different one. Okay. All right. Here's a literature one. What was Dr. Jekyll's first name?
Henry.
Yep. Henry it is. Very good. Okay.
Everyone saw my Jekyll and Hyde themed Halloween ephemeral.
And Patrick did a great job with that. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, let's see. I'm just hitting the
lottery. Go ahead and hit one of the. Give me a science one.
One of the ones. Okay, let's do a science one. Okay, what do you call an infant whale? And I don't think I would have gotten this one at all.
No clue.
A calf.
Oh, no. Okay. Once you said it, yes, I've heard it used that way, but yeah, we're going to go with that.
Okay.
Oh, Jennifer Miller and Peterson got it.
Oh, good job.
Free Willy.
Oh,
Dana got it.
Wow, you guys are good. Okay, here's another science question for you. Who was the second man on the moon?
Ugh.
This one might be tough.
I want to say Dolph Lundgren, and that's not right, but it's like Langren, or is it anything like that?
Kind of, but not really.
Yeah, it's not, I know it's not Dolph Lundgren. That's the guy from Rocky IV.
Jennifer Miller got it.
Aldrin. There you go. Buzz
okay,
Aldrin.
This
Dolph Lundgren, Buzz Aldrin. I was damn close.
This one's fascinating. What's the most common color in U.S. state flags?
Red.
No.
Blue.
Blue it is.
There's something like 75 country flags that all are red, white, and blue. It's like insane.
Yeah, there are. If you go onto iPhone, I'm talking modern now, and just go to the emoji section. I know they don't have all the flags, but if you go through, it is amazing how many red, white, and blue flags there are. Okay, let's see. Okay. What's shredded to make sauerkraut? I think everybody should be able to get this.
Cabbage.
Yeah, cabbage it is. That's another science.
Pickled cabbage.
I love sauerkraut, but I do not like raw cabbage. Raw cabbage.
I will eat raw cabbage. I don't choose it, but I would eat it. I do not like sauerkraut.
Oh, I love sauerkraut.
But what's really weird is like if you get a Reuben and they put the sauerkraut on it. I like when you take the sauerkraut back off because some of the juices will have leaked onto the sandwich. That's fine. But the actual, I think to me, it's not so much the taste, it's that texture. I don't like.
Oh, it's the texture.
It's like an entire thing of crispy spaghetti going into, like, I don't like it.
So I'm weird because I don't like raw cabbage or cabbage by itself or kimchi or anything of that nature, but I love sauerkraut. So I don't understand. It's same with, I love yellow squash, zucchini. Nope.
Huh.
I don't know what the deal is. Okay, everyone should get this. Who is Luke Skywalker's father?
Luke, I am your father. Darth Vader.
Yes, very good.
As they say in Pitch Perfect, she's like, Vader means father. By definition, his name is Darth Father.
Okay, here's a geography one. I think everyone should get this.
Okay, got a quick question from Tim, and I'm curious of the answer of this. How do you feel about coleslaw? See, actually, I find coleslaw disgusting also.
Coleslaw is gross, and no offense to anyone that makes it, but I've had my fair share of church coleslaw, and people put Miracle Whip in it. Nope.
Yeah.
That's just no. Sorry, can't do it.
And Dana's saying she likes the crunch, and that's what I don't like.
No.
About the coleslaw either. Like, what's the type of barbecue that puts the coleslaw? Is that North Carolina barbecue that puts the coleslaw on the barbecue sandwich?
I think it's Texas barbecue.
I think it's Carolina.
I think it is.
And to me, it's the coleslaw. It's fine. Like, I don't have the flavor is not really the issue. It's exactly what Dana likes is what I don't like. I don't like a pulled pork sandwich with a nice soft bun that's like gonna just it's gonna melt my mouth, and all of a sudden There's like hacking piece of coleslaw, and I'm like, no.
See, I don't like the crunch, the texture of coleslaw. I don't like eating something and there's like water that's like coming out from it. It's like, this doesn't belong here. It's weird. It just, I don't know.
It can't be runny either. Like, I don't like it in general, but when it's runny, then it's like, get that away from my plate. Now, I'm curious because Kitschy Corner said it was South Carolina and On the Attic is saying North Carolina. I'm curious if there's a difference between North Carolina and South Carolina, because I honestly don't remember. Like, I think in Chicago, I think it's just referred to as Carolina. Like, we just kind of get rid of
Carolinas usually.
But I wonder if there is something different about a North Carolina version than a South Carolina version.
I don't know. And I see Christina saying she likes oil and vinegar coleslaw. And yes, I've tried that. And I just still can't. It's not only the texture. It's, I don't know. It's just weird. And then
so Dana, I can't remember where you're based. You're saying that you put coleslaw on your barbecue, but I can't remember where you're from. I apologize.
And I'm not big into things like cucumbers that get into things. You can't just pick them out. The juices linger and they contaminate the rest of the food.
I had a very adult challenge last week. I was visiting. I was at a sales meeting last week, and we had a dinner with one of our business partners. So it was a very fancy dinner, expensive restaurant. And I ordered the risotto, and it listed everything that was in the risotto. And one of the things was peas. So after I spit up a little bit in my mouth, I said no peas. And then something like cilipini or chilipini, something like that. I thought those were the tiny little nuts, which I thought was fine. But then the person next to me asked and discovered that those were onions.
Oh, no.
No. We don't want onions in the risotto either. So I ordered it without the weird chilipini things and without peas. And the waitress takes the order. She comes back. So everyone's order has already been in for quite some time. And she comes to me and she's like, oh, I just found out the chilipini things are in the rice or whatever. Oh. So like, there's no way to separate them out. Okay. So I had to be the big boy and be like, no, that's okay. It'll be fine. Because I didn't want my meal to get delayed. I didn't want everyone else's meal. Like, there were like 14 of us. I didn't want everyone else's meal to be waiting for mine. So I'm like, no, that's fine. I'll take it. And so I get this served to me, and all of a sudden I had to deal with these onions that were within everything. I was just embedded in everything. So I ate onions, and I survived. I didn't even make a face. I just ate it like a big boy. But I
probably drank a lot of Dr. Pepper to wash it down.
Yeah.
I had to go one time to a dinner with my mom somewhere, and I ordered, they had 2 choices of salads, and I'm really not a huge salad person to begin with, because again, the crunch of the stuff just, I don't know, weird texture thing. And I thought, okay, well, I like Caesar salad, so I'll order that. Well, it came out with giant heads of sardines all in the salad, and they must have put, I kid you not, like 10 sardines, but large ones with their heads just like. So I just sit there and try to eat around the sardines and eat, because everyone's eating their salad and you can't not send back the food or say I wouldn't do that. And so I'm just eating it, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for the rest of the food to come out so this can go away, because the sardines are gross. Yeah, and I had anchovies too and salad.
I saw Kelly join. So hi, Kelly. Thanks for joining.
It's good that Kelly's in the chat. Okay.
He says that you have to have her mom's sauerkraut.
Oh, does your mom make really good sauerkraut, Kelly?
I'm also curious. There's discussions about vinegar-based and mustard-based barbecue.
Ooh.
So those, I have to say, I've had mustard-based barbecue sauce. So which is probably what you're talking about. I'm trying to think what that got labeled as. Maybe that was a Carolina one. I'm trying to remember.
I've had Texas barbecue, and the Texas barbecue I had was very dry. I mean, it was, I don't like to use the word moist, but it was moist. It just was dry rub. So there wasn't a ton of sauce. Like here in the South, when you get barbecue places, at least here, people cover it in barbecue sauce to where it's just, dripping off.
All right. Peterson. Mwah. Christina.
Everybody.
Right, love ya. We're not playing favorites here.
Oh, I'm glad you got the chance to come in, Kelly. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, so different regions, the different sauces. I'm a Yankee by birth, but my family is from the South. So barbecue was a big thing for us. I'm hoping, coming in the South now, I'm hoping to really get some barbecue while I'm down here, but I just don't have a lot of time. So it's one of those but it's like, the problem that I run into is because Chicago, it's kind of like what we interpret.
Oh, yes,
so it's like, oh, this is Carolina barbecue. And like all of a sudden I'm hearing all this stuff. Like, well, there's a difference between eastern portion of the state versus North Carolina versus South Carolina. I'm like, I don't think we differentiate that. So it's like, it's nice when you can get the real thing. That's made locally or with like special recipes.
And I really like barbecue that's not so saucy. I like more of that dry style Texas barbecue.
I want that thing dripping down my lips. I want as much sauce as I can. I want to sop the bread up in the dripping sauce. Like these places where all of a sudden there's like there's a little dollop of barbecue. I'm like, what's that? A mouse eating this? Why are you in the bottle?
Now here's the real question. Okay, so now with wings, I do like my wings to be extra saucy, but I like them to be bone in. Some people like boneless, but no, it's got to be on the bone.
Okay. If I am in public with people I do not know particularly well, I will not eat bone in because they're too messy. There's too much politics about how you eat them and like what's left behind. And, you really go to town and try and clear it. People like want to give you distance because they're like, okay, the carnivore is really going at it here. Like, I'm not sure I want to be alone with this guy. So I'll do, but I don't like, to me, the boneless ones they're almost always overcooked. Yep. And I don't like a lot of breading. Like I don't like chicken nugget type. Even chicken nuggets are okay, but like when they get like super heavy breading, and especially if it's super, super hard, I'd much rather have it. Buffalo Wild Wings, sometimes I'll get their naked tenders, which are a little bit harder to eat because they just fall apart. But like I love Buffalo Wild Wings. I absolutely love because they've got that whole chart of all the different barbecues. And I like every once in a while, I'll just kind of like drift down a little bit. I went out with my daughter when I was with her a couple weeks ago, and we went to a Thai restaurant.
Ooh, love Thai food.
I love Thai, and my daughter loves Thai also, but she's not really a spicy girl. She's like, she likes pad Thai, she likes pad see ew, she likes flavorful, but she doesn't necessarily like hot and spicy. And so she'd been there before. She's like, oh, okay, well they've got a rating. So if you get a spicy, you can choose anything from 1 to 5. And so I'm like, I got the curry. I'm like, I'll have 4. And the waitress is like, are you sure? I'm like, uh-oh.
That must be really spicy.
Yeah. And I'm like, I think so. And I got it, and it was good, but it was definitely like, oh damn, I could not do the 5. Like, it was just pushing to the level of this is uncomfortable. Like I probably would have been better with the 3. But
so the place that invented the Carolina Reaper and the ghost pepper, which are now I think the 2 hottest peppers in the world, they are not too far from my dad. It's a place called Pucker Butt. And if you go in there, it's so evil because they have all these hot sauces to try. And of course, you can try the peppers if they've got some of them in their store. They don't always have the ones, but you can order them. And they don't have anything to drink. So you're in there and you're trying all these hot sauces with salty chips and spicy hot sauces, and there's nothing to do. I was dying after having the Carolina Reaper one that I tried. So I had to go next door to the coffee shop and get something to drink. And the lady's like, yeah, sorry, we don't have anything to drink here. And I'm like, how are you a hot sauce store and you don't at least like have soda or water? Doesn't really help, but like something.
Yike. All right. It is actually getting late. I didn't realize how long we've been on. I'm not used to doing the 9:30 start. I'm used to doing the 8 start. So all of a sudden, like, wait. So why don't you give us one more question?
Okay. Here's a question I think hopefully everybody will be able to get. So, who is the only president carved in Mount Rushmore wearing glasses?
Theodore Roosevelt.
Yep, you got it. Yay. Those are the ones. I haven't
played Trivial Pursuit in a long time.
But there are some hard ones. Like one of them was asking something about in the Oscars in 1964, who won, what was it? Best Supporting Actress. I'm like, for what movie?
Yike.
Like that's
1964. I couldn't even tell you a movie that came out in 63, 64.
And then this one is who was signed on June 28th of 1919.
Who was signed on?
Yep. They say who, but I think it should be what.
Is it sports?
No, it's history.
Oh, okay. What was signed? What was the date again?
June 28th of 1919. Now they say who, but I think it should be what, because clearly it's not
Treaty of Versailles.
Yeah, Treaty of Versailles. I wonder if that's a typo.
Yeah, that's got to be a what? Yeah, that's not. That
just doesn't make sense. But yeah, there are some very bizarre ones. I see one for Australia. Sadly, I don't think they have anything for New Zealand. Australia one. What continent is considered to be the easiest to defend in the game of Risk? Oh, apparently Australia.
Okay.
I wouldn't have gotten that one.
I found I posted on my Instagram, I found another globe that did not include New Zealand. Now, I will say, I think the globes are fairly accurate. This one, let me back up. So this one is barely considered a globe. So this is a paperweight from the World's Fair of 1964, which wasn't a real World's Fair. And so it's like very surreal, very
it's up for interpretation.
Yeah. And so
abstract.
They didn't include New Zealand, but they barely included Australia.
They just got like a blob.
Yeah, it's like a little stray mark on there. And so I have been doing a little mini challenge when I've gone antique shops and stuff, and I'll look at the globes, and I will say 95% of the globes I find do have New Zealand on it. And if it doesn't, it's because it's something like that, where it's like it's not really a detailed globe. Where it seems to be missing is from maps. Is that they just forget that, because it's like I didn't even realize until I really started paying attention. If somebody had said, find Australia, now tell me where New Zealand is, I would have said it was like up on this like upper part, like it was like wrapped around there. That's like more the Philippines. New Zealand's like way down here in the bottom. And so I think it just gets literally left off. Like it's like.
Well, and I wonder with maps, like how they have to format the maps to fit them all in a certain space. And then you have your latitude and longitude lines and all of the map keys and stuff they got to put on it. I wonder if with all of that, it's like, we can do without New Zealand. It's too much to hassle with to reformat this whole thing.
I really need to do, okay, we were talking about West Wing before, and I love West Wing. Does everyone remember the big block of cheese episodes? There was, do you remember, did you watch West Wing?
Yeah, I've seen all of West Wing, but man, it's been a while.
So the big block of cheese episodes, there were like 2 or 3 of them throughout the series. And it was like, have you ever heard of that's a real thing. Have you ever heard of the big block of cheese?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So the big block of cheese is like our American history lesson for the end of the day, end of the night. So the big block of cheese was, I want to say it was Andrew Jackson. Somebody donated a 1,000, I want to say it was 1,400 pound wheel of cheese. They delivered it to the White House. And so it was this massive, like 6 foot wide wheel of cheese. And what he did was he invited everyone from Washington, D.C. to come into the White House, because back then you could do that. You come to the White House and all have a piece of cheese. So it was the whole idea was like, we are all one people. Like he was the common man when he got elected president. Like he was the person of the people. Like everyone in Washington thought he was like a backwoods hick, because he was. But like, so he was equated. So he like let all these people in the White House. And so the Bartlett administration and the West Wing had Big Block of Cheese Day. And the idea behind Big Block of Cheese Day is no matter who you were, you got a meeting with somebody important in the Bartlett White House. And C.J. Craig had a meeting with, and I can't remember the name of the organization. If anyone remembers this episode, definitely help me out. But it was the organization for the equitable, like something of geographic representation. And basically what this concept behind this organization is that because of the way the map was built, and because of the way you have to take a globe and then stretch it to be flat, like they'd say, they're like, look how big Greenland is. They're like, on a flat map, Greenland's almost the size of Africa. And they're like, in fact, it's like the size of Maine or something. Like it's super tiny. And they said, so it's like, there's all this emphasis put into the Northern Hemisphere, and all the third world countries are in the Southern Hemisphere. And so their entire philosophy is flipping the map upside down and putting Africa in the Northern Hemisphere and South America. And CJ Craig is like, you can't do that. And they're like, why not? So, because it's freaking me out. That's the entire episode. And she is just blown away that they're trying to do this to the map. And I want to, like, all of that is, I want to know, I need to go back and watch that episode and figure out where they put New Zealand in that.
Yeah, where's New Zealand?
Because if it's not there, then it's not in the Bartlett White House on the Big Block of Cheese Day, then it is never going to be on a map.
And yes, Christina, it's been a while since I've seen West Wing, so I need to go back and watch. And I was
one of those cases, like I love the first 3 seasons, maybe. Once he gets into whether he's going to run for re-election,
yeah,
the first time I kind of like that gets into all the health things, and like that gets me a little iffy about the way that was handled. And then I hated the episodes when it came, like when Jimmy Smith showed up and Alan Alda and all of those, like all the stuff for the second re-election. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like we don't need to do this.
Yeah, I was.
Hey, Dolores.
Someone was just asking me the other day about a Seinfeld episode, and it was one I literally did not. And I love Seinfeld. Seinfeld, Friends, they're up there. Frasier, like those are probably my 3 favorite shows of all time. And I couldn't remember the episode, so I'm like, man, it's been a while since I've seen Seinfeld, so I've got to go back and watch that. And I've also started going back and watching Gilmore Girls again from the beginning. Another very good show.
Absolutely, Gilmore Girls is a fantastic show. Yeah. I've probably rewatched that over a dozen times, like the entire 7 series.
So well written.
Absolutely. I'm listening. There's a new podcast, which I don't particularly care for, admittedly, but it is hosted by Scott Peterson, who plays Luke. It is called I'm All In, and it transpires that he was in every episode. Well, he was credited for every episode. He wasn't in every episode, but he 136 episodes, whatever it ended up being. He's never watched any.
Really?
Yep. He's just like, when you make the sausage, you don't want to turn around and watch the sausage again. So he's doing this podcast. He's kind of a jerk. Like, it's really making me not like him that much. But it is interesting
in the show too,
from a whole different perspective. And what's great about it is he's got 2 co-hosts, and one of them has also never seen the show, but she's younger. And so there's a lot of stuff where, like, you figure that was 20 years ago. And so they're talking about some of the references.
Oh yeah.
That were like, topical at the time. And now it's like, how have they carried over the last 20 years? And so there's this woman, I don't know how old she is, probably in her 20s or 30s based on the sound of her voice. And she's never watched any of these episodes. And so these references are coming out. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So there's a section of the podcast where they actually do the cultural references, and there's stuff that they're finding like I didn't even recognize. Like, oh, I didn't even know that was something special. I just thought it was like a throwaway line, and it turns out that it's like some major connection to a band or something at the time.
So what's kind of fun about Gilmore Girls, going along with your little story there, Patrick, is if you get the box set, they do some of the lines that I didn't think anything of, like you were just talking about. They actually put in little like definitions in each of the seasons in the booklet. And so they're like, this season, this episode, and they have like 3 definitions of something, and then you can watch. There's some sort of bonus disc. I need to get it out. I don't think I've ever watched it. That has like a little like list of the definitions from some of the episodes, and I'm like, I need to watch this.
What I'm really bad is I will watch the same thing over and over. Like I've literally watched, no exaggeration, the entire Gilmore Girls series at least 10 times, if not, I would say possibly 20 times. Yet, like people are talking, and Christina's saying The Office is her top 10. I've never seen a single episode of The Office.
I've seen a few episodes of The Office. I mean, I think it's funny. I just think after a while, it gets kind of the same old, same old. To me, that's it. But I know people are going to come for me for that.
I don't know why I necessarily avoided it. And I'm not saying I did avoid it. I just, I don't know if I just maybe didn't like that humor. I don't know. I think I've seen like a couple of episodes or pieces of episodes. Never took care of it. I remember I watched the very first episode, like long after it was popular. I watched the very first episode of The Walking Dead.
Oh, I don't care for that.
This is popular. No, never watched anything beyond that. I've literally never seen a single episode of the Game of Thrones.
Nope, never seen an episode.
There's just like whole pop cultural references I am lost on because I haven't even seen. I don't even know the character names to know what some of this stuff is talking about.
I've watched a couple of episodes of Game of Thrones, kind of in passing. I shouldn't say that I've seen any of them at all, but like seconds walking in while my brother's watching it because he loves that show, and I just don't understand. Same with Dexter. He loves Dexter. I don't. That's just not my taste in shows. But I always watch the same thing.
Yeah, Dexter seemed to be something I could get into, but yeah, that was too much.
I watch the same things. Like Friends is on. I'm like, yeah, I just Friends is familiar, and it's I like that show, so I'll watch the same things over and over again. I'm really not a problem for me.
My weird thing of Seinfeld I liked, but I didn't love. Like that was one I didn't get. I didn't appreciate it always, and I thought it made it. It started making fun of itself, like as it got farther.
Yeah, well,
I didn't like it. It became almost.
I think that was kind of the point of it, is to make.
Yeah, it was just at some point it was like I felt like they were making fun of us. They're like, we're just going to keep doing this crazy stuff because you people are still watching, and so we're just going to make this as ridiculous as possible. But my bizarre story on that was I used to travel internationally, and like this only like sort of internationally, but at the time. I had a customer based in Montreal. And so I was visiting Montreal, and it happened to be the final episode of Seinfeld. And my customer found out that I had no plans. I was just going to be in the hotel. He's like, oh, we're having a Seinfeld party. You should come over and watch it. It'd be fun to have an American, watch it with us. So I go into this house. There's probably 30 or 40 people. The final episode was in May, which happens to coincide with Mayfly season, which I didn't even know was a thing. I'm like, what? This house was swarmed with these disgusting mayflies, and everyone was completely unfazed by them. Like, oh, they just die after a few hours. Like, don't worry about it. They were in my drink. They were on my plate. They were everywhere. Walking, and I'm stepping on them because they were like dying while I was watching the show. And very few people, everyone spoke English. but no one spoke English to me, because every time we got a commercial, they flipped over to a freaking hockey game and just started talking, screaming at each other in French. And I'm like, I barely even know like what a puck is, much less like what the rules of a hockey game are. And so then they watch that for a couple minutes, and then they go back and watch Seinfeld. And so I'm like, you people all know English because this show is in English. So why are you not talking to me? So that was my experience. I thought the final episode of Seinfeld was ridiculous.
Yeah, where they're all in jail.
Yeah, I just the whole thing. Like, and I don't think I've watched any episodes since then. I don't think I've watched a single rerun. I think one and done. Like, it was funny and I enjoyed it, but really no interest in revisiting those characters.
Well, I think if you talk about writing, Frasier is way more clever than Seinfeld ever was. But I think what's brilliant about Seinfeld is that Seinfeld, or Jerry Seinfeld in general, his comedy is based on everyday life. So it's things that people, common, we're all different. We all come from different backgrounds, but like basic things that we can all kind of relate to in human life. And I find that his comedy is fascinating to me, and I think he's hilarious. But I love, Seinfeld, he's always eating, cereal. Well, how many of us always have cereal for dinner? Like, I just think that there's so much relatable things in that show that's kind of funny.
I think the difference was, and maybe the reason I liked Seinfeld, or I liked Frasier better than Seinfeld, because even Friends, I didn't feel did it that much. Both Friends and Seinfeld were both based in New York, but I felt Seinfeld had to be in New York, where Friends could have been anywhere. Seinfeld was so about New York. Like, they would make fun of people from Queens. They would make fun of people from the Bronx. I'm from frickin' Chicago. I don't know all of that. I don't know those references. Right. So it's just like, I don't particularly care for Neil Simon as a playwright, because so much of his stuff is so insular to a very specific audience that is a New York theater audience. And I love theater, but some of the references I just don't get because I don't live that life. Mm-hmm. I don't understand, some of the stuff that, particularly when you get into the cultural differences, that I'm like, so Friends I like more than Seinfeld, but Frasier I love better than anybody. Yeah. Now, All the Attic's Treasures is asking, because I'd be curious your answer to this, is if we watch British shows. I can't say I watch any like current ones that I think I'm like regularly attached to, but for the classic ones, I love Are You Being Served? I think it's just one of the funniest, ridiculous shows from like the 70s. I absolutely love it. What's the one? Faulty Towers. Very Monty Python-esque. I like Monty Python.
Yeah, I love Monty Python.
But I'm trying to think, like, I don't know if, like, what are some of the contemporary, like, I never really got into Sherlock.
I'm not big into Sherlock, but I want to get a subscription to BritBox. So my neighbor upstairs, he's from here, but he was stationed over in England. And he met a lady he calls his Nan, which I think is so sweet. She still talks to them. In fact, he's going in 2 weeks back to England to visit his Nan. And he's got a subscription to BritBox, and he loves Coronation Street. So that is on my list of things to watch. And I think Nate was talking about it, but it's one of the longest, if not the longest running British shows. But they're ending it soon, I think. So I need to get on watching Coronation Street.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what other ones, like, so Ricky Gervais, I like some of his stuff. So Nate saying he grew up on Are You Being Served at Faulty Towers. Like, yeah, I think that's a very specific, it's very much a 70s thing. I can't say I've seen any Coronation Street. I never watched EastEnders. Trying to think. I've watched a little bit of Absolutely Fabulous, but I don't particularly care for that. Although I think Hyacinth Bouquet, what's her Keeping Up with Appearances. I think that's
yes, Keeping Up with Appearances.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's others. Trying to think. There's a mini series that I highly encourage. I picked it up. I actually I need to pay for it, but I picked it up on Amazon Prime. It's called Lost in Austen, meaning Jane Austen. And so was a BBC series, but it's only like a 4 episodes. It's like a mini series. So it's like I think it's just 4 5. I think it's 4 episodes. I really like that. I like some of the humor with that. I like British movies. Like the joke when I was married, we always say there's only 10 British actors because they all show up in the same movies over and over again. 4 Weddings and a Funeral, I think, is brilliant.
I love 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Have you seen the television series they made off of it?
No, I have not. Now so I gotta.
That was on Hulu, maybe. I want to say it was on Hulu. It was like maybe a 6 episode
on Hulu,
maybe 8 episode block, and it like in very rough tones kind of carried on the concept of 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Like something would happen, it'd be like, oh, okay, so that connected to that, but you don't know it's connecting until it happens. Like it's not trying to recreate the movie. There is a funeral, but like you have no idea who's going to die until it dies. Like there's no reference to what's going to happen.
I still have to watch it now.
They did some really nice things to contemporize it. It's a much more multicultural cast. There's some American actors in it as well as the British actors, like that are from America versus England. Like I think they were all college friends, and some had met when they studied abroad. So I thought it was fairly tightly written. It was nice. Broadchurch, I think my ex-wife used to watch that. I don't think I ever watched that one.
I'm not a big fan, Marianne, of Mr. Bean. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Bean's okay, but I don't go out of my way for him. He's in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, though. One of the best scenes within 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Yep, I've got that on DVD.
Yeah.
I like British humor. I like particularly the British dry humor.
Humor, absolutely.
I don't know. It's not for everybody because some people find it so boring, and I'm encapsulated.
Yeah, Doctor Who, I never really got into.
Doctor Who.
My daughter really kind of got into it, so I tried to, and there was the one doctor. Like 2 doctors ago, like the most recent doctor was a woman, right?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
And I think there was another doctor right before that. And then it was the one before him that my daughter really liked. The really popular one, David.
Not Duchovny. What's his name?
David. Okay. So the newest one is a woman. There was an older guy that was before her we didn't like. And then David? He's done a bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, David.
You guys know. They've got to be able to give us the name. But so he was on for a while. So we tried to watch at that point, and that was some of the iconic episodes. The angels, the angel statues that freaked you out. And I mean, there were some things I liked about it, but like I grew up on the Doctor Who when the special effects were like laughably bad. That's what made it fun. And so all of a sudden, like, well, now it's like super high tech, and it's like it's a totally different type of humor.
You know, that's kind of how I feel about Star Wars. I mean, I love Star Wars. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like the new Star Wars have become so advanced with all the CGI and so forth that it's just taken kind of the fun out of watching something that was so revolutionary for its time.
Well, because you can no longer imagine it, because now it's like I'm going to fully flesh out this character to every inch of its being, so that you thought it had 5 tentacles, well, it actually has 6, and here they are. It's like I know Nate's really into science fiction. I'm more. If I had to pick, I'd probably say I lean a little more fantasy, but either one of them, I'm not that big. If like my trope for either of those is more time travel. I get into the time traveling stuff. But I'm like I've already said I don't do Game of Thrones. I've actually never seen all of the Star Wars movies.
Really?
Yeah, I've not seen any. I think I saw the original one, maybe. And I think I've seen pieces of some of the others. I've never seen any of the prequels at all. Like I wouldn't even know, like cultural references. I don't even know those. And I've never seen a single Star Trek episode.
I've seen like snippets, clips, but I've never really seen Star Trek. But I know Star Wars pretty well. But there are some people that can talk about all of this backstory and all the characters, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
The Time Traveler's Wife movie I have seen. I did like that. I don't think I recognize Willow. Princess Bride, absolutely beautiful.
Oh yes, Princess Bride is great.
Willow is like vaguely triggering a memory, but I can't think of what that is. I don't remember that one.
And out of all the modern like Marvel movies that are so popular now, if I had to pick, and I like Marvel, but I'm not obsessed with Marvel. I have to say I like Doctor Strange. I have to say that the time traveling element and going between universes is interesting.
I haven't watched any of the Marvel movies. I don't think I've seen any of them. I literally on one of my trips recently. This is how sad my life is. I was trying to change the channel and my remote just kind of like died in the middle.
Oh, no.
Like all of a sudden it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't turn the TV back off. It wouldn't change channel. It wouldn't go back. And the channel that it stopped on was Thor.
Oh no, out of all of them.
And so I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm in the middle of the movie and some of the dialogue was hilarious. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize these were funny.
Marvel funny.
Maybe I should try and like check these out. I don't know.
But see, Thor is my least favorite. That's why I was like, oh. But I have to say the humor in some of them is quite funny. I like kind of that snarky humor that Marvel has.
Yeah, it's got to be like what I don't really get into is like and maybe it's unfair, but like I don't really like the type of the Dumb and Dumber type humor.
No,
I don't like potty humor. I don't like this giggling because we talked about titmouse. Like that's that's like we can kind of joke, but then moving along. But when an entire movie is based around that or double entendres, like it just gets tired, very soon. But like I said, one of my favorite movies is King Ralph, which has nothing to do with like it's certainly not highbrow. I don't necessarily think it's lowbrow, but it's they're definitely have to have variety. But I do find watching the same things over and over again.
I have to say I like Airplane, and Airplane is just such the little you could watch that movie 8 million times and still discover something new in it. That's just hilarious.
Airplane was funny. Like, so I haven't seen Airplane in a long time. I remember I liked it when I was like 13. But like perfect example, I was watching the National Lampoon Vacation.
Oh, movie. I have to say, I do like Vacation.
And I have not seen those movies in such a long time. And there was some stuff in there that was just cringeworthy. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I find myself laughing. I'm like, no, I can't laugh at this. It's like, this is awful. Imogene Coca on the roof of the car. Like, there's just like, there's some stuff that's like, okay, I just need to accept this for what it is, but it's not necessarily that's not necessarily my kind of humor.
Yeah, I don't really care for Dumb and Dumber, and there's a lot of movies like that I don't care for. Although I will say, like Vacation and Airplane, those are kind of my exceptions to the rule.
What I found most fascinating about Vacation, because I'd never made the connection, is, and I don't know if you've made the connection, depending on the last time you watched it, but Jane Krakowski is in Vacation. She is the cousin.
Really?
She's the cousin that stirs the Kool-Aid with her arm.
Really? No.
That is Jane Krakowski. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And I want to say that was her first film role.
Wow.
The slutty cousin who learned a French kiss from her dad. Like there's just so many troubling things. Like partially that whole family, like I could be related to you people. I don't want to watch this. So yeah.
I have to say, if you watch Four Christmases, it will give you quite a shock if you realize it. I saw it, and then the second time I watched it, I'm like, wait a minute, that's Ralphie, the guy that the desk clerk in the airline, he's Ralphie. I'm like, because he looks so familiar. And then I was watching not Christmas Vacation, the second Home Alone. And the guy that's in there who plays the bellhop and the guy at the desk, he's in Rocky Horror Picture Show, obviously, Tim Curry. And I'm like, you were in Rocky Horror Picture Show playing that role, and now all of a sudden you're in like a nice movie.
And then he did Clue, which was just the best movie ever.
Yeah, Clue is fabulous. I just watched that again the other day.
Yeah, I love Clue. Somebody was talking about like one-liners and stuff, and like there's so many great one-liners in Clue. I absolutely love it. So, all right, I can't believe I'm going for 3 hours. My conference starts at 7:00 in the morning tomorrow. So,
we gotta get going then.
I should let you go. So, anyway, we talked a little bit about this before. I do have a live sale tomorrow night. It'll be at my regular time, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll probably be relatively short. Ideally, I'd plan on being done tonight earlier, but ideally I will have a couple of the items that I showed that'll go up on the eBay store. That'll be for the fundraiser. But I will have some regular items selling. It's just part of my regular sale. And I am all caught up on shipping. My Flea Market Treasures was the last person I needed to get out the door, which I did that before I came down here. So I'm going to keep the sale short because I don't want to have too much to ship, because I need to get ready for the fundraiser, for the Doxie fundraisers on the 11th. So I will be doing that. So that's tomorrow night. What do you have coming up on your channel, Katie?
So on Friday, I am finishing up my last chapters of the saucy book we're in from the 1950s. So that will be at 6 o'clock. So come by and we'll read the last 3 chapters. We'll find out who is the murderer. I hope that gets revealed since the book is ending. So there's a lot of fun things there. And then, of course, on Sunday, you want to come back to my channel for a fun night of costume parties and Jeopardy. So we'll have Patrick on, Dee will be on from Thrill of the Thrift, Laura and Mary Beth from Fat Bird Finds, and Vintage Vinny. So all of us will be playing Jeopardy and dressing up. So that'll be fun for Halloween. And then, of course, Tales from the Triptych will be following that on Nate's channel at 8 p.m. Eastern. So lots of great events coming up this weekend.
And we were looking in the chat, but I didn't hear what the resolution was. Did we determine it's shipwreck porcelain or shipwrecked porcelain?
Oh, it's shipwreck, and it's all one word.
It's all one word. Okay.
It's clarified, yeah.
Mystery solved.
And you know, when I Googled it, there was all these different variations of it. Once you got down into the websites themselves, I'm like, so what is it? But you would know.
Perfect. All right. So that's Sunday's triptych. And then I will hopefully be dropping a couple more videos coming up. I have one that I've already done. I just need to, I think it's finished and you just need to process it. So that'll hopefully be going up by this weekend. And then I'm hoping to film some videos of some of the items that were donated for the Doxies, to highlight both thank you to those who gave the donations, but then also to highlight them in preparation for the sale. Because again, everything that I showed tonight, unless I said is going to go into an auction, and what I'll show in the future videos, if you want to grab those before they become part of the regular sale, I have no problem with that, because hopefully that means I can ship them out early and have one less thing to have to ship all at one time on the 11th. So keep an eye out for those. And then
the recipe cards.
I would say, so there it is. The last reminder, because we are kind of running out of time, is if anyone wanted to participate in a small way for the fundraiser, I am collecting recipe cards that will go into the recipe box, and they will be included in the eBay auction as a vintage community recipe box. Right now, it's a very small recipe box. They're all the boxes the same size, but there's not much of a vintage community recipes in there. So if anyone wants to donate those, go to my channel, look at my about section. You can see the mailing address, ship me actual cards. Or if you want to email them, my preference would be send them to me already lined out into a 3x5 card, so I can print them on cardstock and just cut them out. I do not want to have to handwrite everyone's cards.
Yeah, that would be a lot of work.
Yeah, that if I have to do that, the box probably won't ship until sometime in December. So my preference is to get them at a time, but we're running short on time. And you can donate. I'll start putting this into our announcements. PayPal.me/JOMDR. For every $5 sponsorship you give them, you will get a chance to win one of the sets of 5 mystery boxes. So,
which is very exciting.
Yes. So we're gathering those together too. So thanks so much for joining. I didn't anticipate being on this long because we didn't have anything specifically to cover.
But this was fun. Yeah, we learned a lot about animals tonight and cougars and a whole slew of other things.
And just watch my future sales. You too can feel stupid and buy your own.
I mean, you feel very dumbed down after you do that. You're like, did I not go to school? Did I not learn anything?
Were people in the 50s smarter than me? How did they know this stuff? All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining. Thanks for putting your trust in Trusty Huckster. Everybody have a great night.
Bye, friends.